Earlier today, the Clouds were not playing too nice. The great news, we get start for opening pitch, and the weather is fantastic here in Greenville, North Carolina. No storms in sight, and two quality baseball programs, two of the best pitching staffs in the country coming in. It's Old Dominion out of the Sun Belt, and East Carolina up to number 9 in the country now, hosting ODU for the return of this home and home. Welcome into Clark LeClaire Stadium with Mike Mullis. I'm EvanBudrovich. A walk-off win for ODU back in February. It's a busy week now for the Pirates. 5 games in 6 days. What do both these programs want to accomplish tonight?
You know, both teams trying to steal innings early with unproven starting pitching. So want to see these guys go as deep as they can. Expect we'll see a lot of arms out of the bullpen today. But this starting pitching is going to set the tone. 2
of the top 30 ERAs in the country. And East Carolina's staff yesterday was fantastic. A 7-inning game due to the run rule, but a combined no-hitter for the first time in 24 years.
Yeah, you know, in quality innings by Winter and Kaler, and then the young Parker Thomas getting his first opportunity to pitch for East Carolina University.
It was a dominant 12-0 win, and one of the key cogs in that note offensively, Carter Cunningham, reigning honorable mention all-conference, and he's hitting .399 right now. What a spark in this offense.
No, I tell you what, he's certainly come back to life for the Pirates. He had, you know, they kind of lost him for a little bit. He's found his way here in the last handful of games, and he part of that 3-home run inning last night for the Pirates. So, yeah, Cunningham figured it out certainly of late.
Old Dominion counters with Luke Waters. He had 3 hits in the first matchup. Not only a great on-base threat, but heavy with the speed as well.
Yeah, look, Luke Waters, a toolsy guy, 15 stolen bases, 7 home runs. He is the spark plug for this Monarch offense. So kind of as he goes, they go. They love to steal bags. They love to play the small game. And obviously Luke can help them out with the long one when needed.
When we come back, the 71st meeting all-time, ODU and East Carolina, here in just a few minutes on ESPN+. Welcome back to Greenville. Pardon the Pirate pun, but head coach Cliff Godwin said this week it's all hands on deck with his pitching staff. So young freshman Corey Costello, his 4th career appearance, hasn't touched the ball in a month in game action. March 8th, his last appearance. What do the Pirates hope to get out of Corey Costello today?
Strikes. You know, strike one, best pitch in baseball, and Costello has had some challenges in limited time there. A young freshman that they really looked for big things from as he was coming in. Another one of these Loudoun County guys, him and Lunsford Shinkman, both from kind of the same neck of the wood. But Corey Costello, strike one. He's a guy that's going to feature upper 80s fastball, good breaking ball. It's just a matter of commanding it and again pitching out front of these Old Dominion hitters.
Corey's last outing, March 8th, so he's back on the bump tonight and facing an ODU offense. We noted Luke Waters in the open, fantastic, but combine the power of Kenny Lavari, 8 doubles, 4 homers this year, and Kyle Edwards is a menace up top in this Grady White Boat starting lineup. He gets on almost a 350 clip.
Yeah, outside of Waters, he is the true power threat on this team. And talking with their staff before the game, it's a kind of a death by 1,000 paper cut offense. As we say that, we see them square to bunt, and expect to see a lot of that tonight. Aggressive base running, kind of, again, death by 1,000 paper cuts. They will kind of lure you to sleep and then maybe an extra base knock.
Under Coach Chris Finwood, back-to-back 40-win years for Old Dominion. They'll look to regain that stature this year. It's been a difficult slate in terms of quality opponents. This is the 10th Quad 1 competition or top 50 team in the country the Monarchs have faced.
And that's a big deal. That creates a tone for your team that, hey, we'll play anybody anywhere, and you're not going to be intimidated by the team that's across the field from you regardless of who's in the other dugout. So, yeah, they've taken all comers.
Costello works up in the zone on 4 straight pitches. And a walk early here for Kyle Edwards. One of those 2 wins, it was power-fueled up at Coastal Carolina on Saturday. 4 home runs as a team, a double-figure scoring day. It might take that type of effort tonight for either of these teams to win.
And what's kind of ironic about that, again, talking with their guys before the game, they're like, listen, we're not a true home run power, a big offense team. That was kind of an anomaly for us. Wynn was howling out, and they got the 4 home runs. I think what you're seeing now is, again, they want to bunt. They want to run the bases. They are looking to be aggressive and capitalize on any mistakes that the defense gives them.
There was the first strike for Costello. He'll now face Stephen Meyer, the center fielder for ODU. And Meyer aggressive early. Meyer replaces Thomas Wheeler, who was a 2-year starter out in center. He stepped up in limited action this year. 3 homers, 5 doubles. This time he's late, and Costello with his first strikeout.
That's big for Costello to get settled back in, after a 4-pitch walk, and kind of opens the frame with another off the, out of the zone pitch, settles back in and gets the punch out, and there's that good fastball.
Corey Costello, grown up in Leesburg area of Virginia, he was a top 50 prospect in the state last year. Really good pitching recruit for Austin Knight. As if this staff needed any more weapons. Number 4 in ERA, number 2 in whip in the country. And we noted last night with the no-hitter, this staff is throwing strikes and attacking the zone.
Yeah, and it got some innings last night out of guys that have had some struggles, and a really good sign for this Pirate program if they could get those guys going.
Here's a pop-up from Luke Waters. A bright night here in Greenville. That's the new second baseman, Dixon Williams, who's replaced Jacob Starling the last couple of days over there at second.
Yeah, word on the street is that Starling, they'd like to see him get back in there this weekend with the oblique strain, but kind of taking it as it comes and obviously looking at the big picture with the rest of the season as opposed to right now.
Starling injured his oblique against NC State a week ago, so Colby Wallace, the true freshman, now over at third in the last week. Cliff Godwin made a point this week to note the defensive maturity of Wallace, who came in a little bit stiff, not the smoothest of defenders over at first, and he's elevated his game now at third base.
Yeah, and he was a shortstop in high school, as a lot of these guys are kind of, your best players are kind of, the guys that are up the middle. He has done an amazing job to transition over to third base and has had to learn a lot. And, another part of his game that we haven't seen yet is him on the mound and something that's been talked about some. So, yeah, really good player, good freshman addition in the young Wallace.
Utility players, always a weapon for a Cliff Godwin program. Think back to the Agnos brothers of yesteryear, a couple of All-Americans mixed in.
Oh, Burleson, you got to go, and two-way U was a moniker that Coach Godwin and his staff really adopted there. And a lot of times in the recruiting deal, they'll tell you we'll let you play both ways. Cliff has shown that he likes those guys.
And Alex Boucher rips a base hit. This could be an opening run for the Monarchs. Good speed from Edwards in to score. And a rip double gets the scoring started.
Yeah, he hits that one about the only place he could, just inside of the effort by Cunningham at first base to shag it up. It stays down the line and kind of bounces around, gets in the corner. Takes a minute, and you can see there in the replay that Jenkins Calvert is playing straight up, even maybe a little touch towards
and you're
center
right.
field. That
Cunningham
ball
doesn't have big separation.
No, that's the perfect spot. Not a bad play or a lack of effort. It was just a ball that got by him in a blink of an eye.
So Old Dominion is a team. It's 47th double of the year. And now Kenny Lavari being aggressive early in the count. This is an ODU club that has a couple of nice wins over Charlotte, who come into town this weekend to Greenville. They've battled Virginia twice. Of course, the walk-off win over East Carolina back in the third week of the year. Battle-tested group for Coach Chris Finwood, who's now in year 13 here at Old Dominion.
Yeah, whatever. I'll tell you, that conference that they're in, the Sun Belt, is a very interesting baseball conference. It's ranked by some as the fourth or fifth best conference in the country, depending on what you read. But
it's loaded.
Yeah, they're bookended here too. They went Coastal Carolina, and then obviously in here to fight the Pirates, and then turn around and have a super hot JMU team this weekend they have to deal with. So, I mean, quality opponents all the way around, like you mentioned earlier. But this club is interesting. I still think they're trying to find themselves in some kind of weird ways.
6 top 50 programs in the Sun Belt right now. It's been a great year in that conference, and there's a strike.
When ODU off to really hot start early, and they've only 3 wins in their last 10 outings, but a team that has proven that, again, they'll take all comers.
How about the last 5 games? Virginia, Coastal, and East Carolina all sandwiched in. Working ahead is Costello, and just off the edge of Greg Wall's zone.
Quality pitch there. And I think a quality miss, but certainly a good pitch.
Kenny Lavari in the 3-2 count. And he rips one off of Costello in his center field. So a 2-out knock makes it 2-0 Old Dominion.
Yeah, good piece of 2-strike hitting there by Lavari. It stays right on that 3-2 offering and drives it right back through the box. It's kind of how you teach it, right? 2 strikes, stay in the middle.
And another moment where that's perfectly placed. Nothing defense can do.
Yep.
A top 5 pitching staff in the country coming in. Battling an offense here that's making life tough. So now Maverick Stallings comes in.
And this has been an ODU offense that's kind of been feast or famine. Right now they're feasting at the buffet for sure, but they've kind of been a hot and cold kind of club, and even not putting teams away when they've had the opportunity, which has been costly in some of these some of the tight losses they've had.
And 7 losses for the Pirates by a combined 9 runs. It's been that type of season in every game this year. Stallings will work well ahead in the count. First innings in a month for Corey Costello. I don't care how good your pitching staff is. This is a difficult task for a young arm to come in.
Yeah, and unfortunately there's a Pirate up tolling in the bullpen, so hopefully Costello can find his way out of here.
He gets a strike there. Stallings, who played 2 years at St. John's River State, moving his way up to the Division I ranks this year. Had a nice weekend at Coastal. Couple of doubles, drove in 2 and 1 win in that series. And now he smacks the 3-1 to center. That'll stay in the yard, though, for Riley Johnson to end the inning. Old Dominion, 2 runs on 2 hits to get things started. The Pirates will swing it when we come back. Welcome back to Greenville. Young arm Nick Sulpizio comes in only an inning and 2/3 in his tenure. This is a big moment against the number 9 team in the country, East Carolina. His offense certainly helping with a 2-run start, and now Nick kind of in some uncharted waters today on the mound.
Yeah, the conversation even before the game was if Sulpizio could give them 2, that is kind of what they're looking to get out of the young freshman. So we'll see how he responds going out with a 2-run lead. A little comfort, but not a ton against this Pirate offense. They can certainly put up some numbers.
To his credit, you see those last week performances. He threw 2 scoreless at Virginia. That was a really good game, 4-0. It was at Old Dominion. And this Grady White Boat starting lineup, ECU now hitting .298 as an offense. We noted Cunningham in the open. Ryan McChrystal, Carter Cunningham, and Bristol Carter all with home runs last night. It is a balanced offense here for Coach Cliff Godwin. We noted the Jacob Starling oblique injury. So Colby Wallace will move into the 5 spot. Young Nick Sulpizio back to work. His 4th straight outing against a ranked opponent, and he pounds in a 2-seam strike.
That is a baptism by fire, right? Hey, Coach, can I throw against somebody that doesn't have a number in front of their name?
There you go, from 11 to 12, now to 9 this week. This was a patient offense that went into Raleigh and clobbered double-digit hits against NC State in its previous midweek. Followed up with 3 home runs last night and a dominant 12-0 win over Elon. An Old Dominion staff that, to its credit, kept East Carolina off balance in that 6-5 win back in late February. Struck out 8, only walked 2 to a very patient Cliff Godwin offense.
When that win was the ultimate trap game where where the Pirates are coming off of a super emotional weekend with Carolina, and Sulpizio finds a way. The Old Dominion finds a way to walk them off late up at their place, and and that's the emotion and the normalcy of what we see in college baseball. Upsets all over the place this week and even last night. So college baseball midweek is kind of a coin toss.
6 ranked upset wins last night. That's the fun part of midweeks. You never know what to expect. As the 3-2 Johnson, this will not stay in play. Including the staggering score last night, and give Link Jarrett a ton of credit. Florida State dominated Florida 17-4 yesterday.
Florida has been an anomaly, at least as far as their ranking goes, and they took a big tumble in the latest polls, but have been kind of an anomaly as to how they've maintained their rank where they've been. But, Coach Jarrett and the crowd put a thumping on them last night.
Another 3-2 stays outside, so a leadoff walk here for Riley Johnson. It's those signature wins, especially in the midweek, that can boost your resume come May, come selection time.
Yeah, and when you talk strength of schedule and going back to what ODU has done with their schedule, I mean, they're single-digit strength of schedule. All these things play into how the postseason shakes out. So, yeah, I mean, those big midweek wins, and both of these teams are obviously thinking about the postseason. Every one of these games matters so much.
Here's Carter Cunningham, maybe swinging the hottest bat in this Pirate lineup as he takes a strike.
Yeah, and that'll draw some jeers from the stands and maybe a look from Coach Godwin down the third base box.
How often do you get a feel for an umpire, right? Because you come into a new game, you're getting the sense of their zone.
Yeah, and this stuff kind of – these guys have scouting reports too. You know that, certain umpires like to pitch certain place, may give you a ball or two in certain locations. And so, I mean, you know that coming in. What you hope is that you get the effort that the scouting report says that, this is what the tendencies are.
And it's Greg Walls behind the plate tonight, and some attention over there to first. That is a bright and wicked sun this time of night here in Greenville. Good luck on that right side of the infield.
Yeah, good luck in this press box.
We're both staring into it. That's a
tough.
great call. So that time Cunningham lays off. It's a 4-pitch mix. Fastball, sinker, slider change, and gives you a sense how difficult it is to see these next few innings. Good luck on a pop-up to the right side.
But I tell you what, we'll take this over the weather we had earlier in the day.
No rain, no problem. Here at 6 o'clock, and Cunningham clobbers one in the corner. That actually goes off the wall, and Cliff Godwin hits the brakes. So second and third with nobody out.
Literally hits the brakes. A good little piece of base running by Riley Johnson. Kind of slides after the bag to hold himself at third base. But a good piece of hitting there. 2 strikes. Carter Cunningham gets the breaking ball down and in and drives that thing into right field to put 2 runners in scoring position for the Pirates. Still no outs in the inning.
And after looking fooled on a couple of breaking balls, good adjustment there with 2 strikes.
Yeah, and that's, when he gets hot and he gets going the way he is back running, you can expect that from him. He sees the ball. He's so patient. As Coach says, he plays free. That's great for the Pirate fans to see Cunningham.
9th double of the year for Cunningham. Now it's Jacob Jenkins-Cowart.
The Monarchs have quite the shift on. There is nobody playing shortstop. The shortstop is actually playing almost double play depth on the second base side of the bag. So if Jenkins-Cowart could drive something through the hole, there's nobody there to knock it down.
The junior takes that one inside. It almost sneaks away.
Yeah, just not quite far enough, especially, if anybody's going to try it here on this club, it's going to be Riley Johnson down at third base, and just thought a little wiser of it, especially with no outs in the first.
38 stolen bases for an aggressive Cliff Godwin team. It was a tough task for Nick Sulpizio, his second inning. Or pardon me, first inning, but second straight against a ranked opponent, and he falls behind.
We talked about the shift a little bit, and we've got all 3 infielders except for the third baseman on the right side, 3 of the 4 on the right side of second base. None of that matters if Sulpizio can't execute the pitch to make the shift effective.
He gets one there, and Jenkins-Cowart just a piece.
And he took that swing like he was saying, I'm not worried about the shift. Ted Williams, they used to shift on Ted Williams, and he would try to beat the shift early on and finally said, I'm not going to worry about beating the shift. I'm going to hit through it. That was an effort where Jenkins-Cowart, like he was trying to hit it on the practice football field.
Enters this game on a 10-game hit streak for Jenkins-Cowart, and nearly takes out one of his teammates.
Again, kind of an interesting philosophy there. They come in, obviously, to pitch into the shift and against his, or maybe into his tendencies and feel like they could defend him. Now they go to a little more standard look with the shortstop is kind of directly behind second and even creeping back over, but that pitch was away.
Now the 2-2, another piece. And that's been the evolution of JJC at the plate. 12 walks this year, only 26 strikeouts. He's tough out at the plate.
Well, he's been a guy, and as most good high school hitters are, he's never seen a pitch he didn't think he could hit. So sometimes he would take himself out of at-bats by offering it, different pitches that are a little bit better at this level, much more mature this year.
Sulpizio misses outside in the full count.
Those pitches away are intended to be off the plate. It's just interesting to me. I mean, Jenkins-Cowart is not unable to go to the left side. He's hit balls that way with tons of success in his time.
The payoff off the hands as it floats into right. Perfectly placed from Jacob Jenkins-Cowart, and this game is tied in the first.
Yeah, back to zeros, right? Best laid plans of mice and men. There goes your shift. JC doesn't quite get all of that one, but just enough to kind of gork it over the infield in front of the outfielders and a 2 RBI knock. Again, you see, doesn't really catch much of that one, but just enough to hit it where they ain't. 2-run score. We got back to a 0-0 game, still no outs.
33 and 34 RBI for JJC, who as a freshman was a standout with the 65 ribbies last year, battling an injury for most of last year. He looks really healthy here in year 3.
Yeah, and you hear these guys talk about selflessness, and that's what they're all about. And he had one of the best quotes at media day before the season started, that he was asked what his favorite moment of the year of his career had been, and he quickly cited something else, something one of his teammates has done.
Bad throw there for Old Dominion. And there's the teammate himself taking second.
Yeah, but his greatest moment in his time at East Carolina was success that it was actually Wilcoxon that had with a big home run. So pretty neat.
For a 2-time All-Conference player, an All-American candidate, you're right, to recognize one of his teammates.
Yeah.
That does make an impact, especially for a player with that much potential.
Right. What a great level of maturity in putting team over me.
That's why this team in East Carolina, number 9 in the country, fresh off a series win over FAU. And right now a tough inning here for Nick Solpizio, his 10th inning of his young career. And there are no easy outs in this order. Still nobody out.
It's going to bring a trip from the coach there to have a chat with Mr. Solpizio, see if he can either get him settled down or maybe take a look down the pen. We'll see what we get here. You know, there's probably not a hotter hitter, maybe except for Cunningham, in this Pirate lineup than the one that's at the plate right now. And Ron McChrystal, we saw him in a weekend where there weren't a ton of hits or there were maybe a ton of singles and no extra base hits in that UAB series until the last out of the last inning of the last game for the Pirates. But McChrystal had a great weekend and has kind of continued to build on that.
A good slide there from the Pirates to even this thing up. And you're right, Cliff Godwin clubs, they're never afraid to push the buttons on the bases.
No. Even going back, we've seen the squeeze with runners on second and third, both runners score. We've seen bases loaded squeeze. I mean, it is certainly if you can have an up-tempo offense in baseball, that's what Coach Godwin's all about.
So Mike Marone, the pitching coach, steps aside for a moment. This is a young arm, and Nick Solpizio, who grew up at the same high school as Pat Burrell. Longtime Philly, and that is Nick's favorite club. Growing up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's got some work to do here against Ryan McChrystal. This is dangerous in the middle of center. Nice effort there for Meyer to track it down.
Yeah, Meyer thought that came off the bat a little better than it did initially. Takes a really hard step back, and not that that's not a good fundamental, but this thing, you'll see him here take a hard break back and go, oh no, it's going to be a little more shallow. Makes a running catch amongst all his buddies.
He's a 2-year returning starter out there in center, and you see the experience here for Old Dominion, who came in as a staff really good pitching-wise. 4.3 team ERA, have kept teams in check all week. Kobe Wallace pops this one up. There's Waters with the catch, runner tagging, and Coward into third.
That ball got up there, and the wind is dead out to right tonight, and just kind of hung up and kept the right fielder drifted back. You kind of catch him in that posture of retreat. Makes an easy tag for
could be a dangerous night to be a Taco Bell sign out there.
No question about it. No question about it.
That wind is blistering out to right. A left-handed hitter's paradise, and Cliff Godwin has loaded his lineup up with lefties tonight. The first 4 all on the left, 7 hitting there in the starting 9.
And we've seen the lefty at the plate, Will Coxon, hit plenty with 6 home runs on the season, but we've seen him throughout his time here at East Carolina hit some absolute mammoth home runs.
That wind is blistering and really makes for a fun night for hitters. Here's a 2-year starter behind the plate, Justin Wilcoxon, the senior out of Raleigh. Goes back up the middle, and Wilcoxon beats it out. Good hustle from the catcher, and the Pirates take the lead.
I have all ideas. We're going to see a replay on this. Great job by the shortstop to get to that ball, get rid of it. Nobody else on the team here for East Carolina. I mean, they're so fast top to bottom. You got the catcher running, so the only guy that they could have possibly gotten. But we are going to go to instant replay and see what
Old Dominion electing to challenge this.
We'll see what we see in slow-mo here.
That was Kyle Edwards at short, making a really nice play.
You'll see him here. What a great job he did of laying out and getting himself gathered. And I think
that call will stand.
I think they have it right. Interesting enough, the first base umpire, Gary Swanson, collegiate coach, he was at St. Andrews and actually got to get to know Coach Swanson some in my recruiting process. So kind of interesting that just kind of same faces, different places.
Well, you young birds were both playing college 10 years ago.
Yeah,
not too long.
Yeah, it looks like he beats that one. Nice pick by the first baseman, too, but Wilcoxon beats it out. That's that's something that the Pirates pride themselves on, is the hard 90, right? Getting out of the box with effort and trying to take everything you could get, and Wilcoxon busts it down the line. And
especially for a catcher, too, on an infield single like that.
That's right. And, we're talking about a guy who's caught a lot of innings. Those legs are probably getting a little heavier, but, looks like it's going to be hard-pressed to turn that one over. Umpires are still deliberating, but I'm not sure. Doesn't seem like there's much they could talk about on this one.
Each coach with the 2 challenges. If it goes deeper into the 7th, umpire-initiated challenges as well.
Interesting little factoid, probably the most known ODU baseball alum, and they've had a handful, Justin Verlander. So there was some debate before we went on air with myself and Coach Gary Overton as to, was this Verlander's first outing or maybe second outing, but we early on in his career in a February game, Justin Verlander pitched a complete game here at what was then Harrington Field against these Pirates and won the game. We were a little fuzzy. It's either 4-0 or 6-0, but kind of a neat tie there. Tony Guzzo, head coach of that team, and Tony Guzzo played here and played football here. So, again, kind of a small world in the baseball community.
A prolific arm with Old Dominion ties, Justin Verlander. I love bringing those things together.
What's more impressive, the World Series rings or the Mayor's Decade Open?
You're asking a tough question. As someone getting engaged this summer, I have to be careful what I say.
I'm telling you.
And a fresh count here to Joey Barini. Verlander had some neat comments about arm injuries and pitchers in terms of max effort and velocity this week, talking in his minor league rehab. You look at the stats of the number of Tommy John injuries that have gone up in the country, not only at the big league level but the college level. And it's that combination of max effort but also elasticity and working deep into the year.
Well, there's a lot of stuff out there now that is solely velocity improvement, and sometimes, that improvement can come at a detriment. And it's interesting of Verlander, of all people, who's had such a rubber arm his whole career.
He's a 20-year big legger now. And right now his Old Dominion Monarchs in a tight one here against number 9 East Carolina. The Pirates, who've been nearly unbeatable in this park, 14-1 here in Greenville. And a slow roller off the bat of Barini to wrap up the first. East Carolina with a 2-out single from Justin Wilcoxon, the difference here through 1. This is the return trip of a home-and-home that first took place February 27th, and it was Mr. Meyer himself, the game winner, Stephen Meyer, on the walk-off. Jenkins Coward got the party started early. That was a really good baseball game. Couple of back-and-forth lead changes and one of 2 top 25 wins for Old Dominion this year.
Yeah, that was one of those, like we said earlier, that's East Carolina coming off the Carolina weekend, and you go up and play. I mean, ODU's going to be good regardless of what the record says. You go up and play them, and I'm not saying you take them lightly, but maybe a little bit exhausted after all that was, and they hit the extra inning home run.
The game had a combined 3 homers up at Bud Metheny Ballpark, and the Bud, as they call it, is set to get major renovations this offseason, a $20 million project that's almost full cash in hand. Well, you need to see the new ballpark up in Norfolk. Corey Costello working quickly here in the second. Limited innings for the true freshman, a top 50 recruit in the state of Virginia.
And I'll tell you, man, for years that the Virginia high school, the high school baseball up in that area, Virginia pretty much in totality has produced a lot of really, really good players. And even, I mean, going back, and this is going back a few years to David Wright, and you had the Uptons, and you had, you know, I mean, just tons of guys, Jeremy Jeffries, all these guys kind of out of that area. And ODU has capitalized every year on capturing some of that local talent.
Yeah, 20 players in state this year, along with 20 newcomers for Coach Chris Finwood. A couple of youngsters getting after it here. Hunter Cole versus the freshman Corey Costello.
Sun's kind of easing down behind the trees. Should let up here in just a little bit. It's a little bit better already, actually.
It is beautiful tonight in Greenville, that's for sure. And there's a walk to get things started for Old Dominion.
Yeah, just a bit up and out. Wilcoxon does the best he can to give the umpire a good look at it, but ball 4 from Costello.
This is a Pirate pitching staff. 3 strikeouts to 1 walk per game. They're in the top 5 in the country. That has been a huge strength of Austin Knight's staff. East Carolina's had traditionally good pitching staffs, always in the top 50, top 100 ERA-wise, but their ability to limit free passes, I think, is their next level this year.
You know, when some of that's a little bit skewed with those 2 starters on Friday and Saturday who have just exceptional numbers in that category with the walks to strikeouts with your Savage and Root, obviously.
Looks like Cliff Godwin's had enough. He comes out to talk to his true freshman.
You know, what we have seen this week with the trip he made out to talk to Danny Beal over in UAB, he comes out. I'm sorry, in FAU he comes out and just kind of tries to calm Danny down and goes back. But it looks like this time he's gonna make the call to the pen.
4th career outing there for Corey Costello, and his day's done. We'll step aside for a moment with a call to the bullpen. New arm coming in for ECU when we return. Making his 18th outing of the year. The national lead is 19, so maybe none more in the country who throws than this man right here, Danny Beal. The Winston-Salem product, really good numbers this year, a national stopper of the year, mid-season watch list arm, and now Beal comes into a tight spot here in the second inning.
You know, when Danny, and I heard him on a radio appearance this week, and Danny's had the good fortune at times with the 3 wins there to come in very limited relief and find his way to getting the win. I don't know if that'll be the case here tonight, but it's kind of an interesting time to see Danny, I would think, in the second inning. But I take it that Coach Godwin and staff is saying, hey, we need to get somebody out there, give us a chance to maybe get a lead. So, hey, we're going to try to hold him here, thinking we can out-bop him. And we know that, East Carolina knows that the Old Dominion bullpen is a little bit fragile. So I think that's what you're looking at is Danny to kind of hold things right where they are, give the offense a chance, and see if the Pirates can't turn this thing.
The true iteration of a high-leverage inning, even though it's so early, looking to match Old Dominion. And Beal's been really good. 2 scoreless at NC State. Did have a tough outing in the loss at FAU. His first blown save of the year has otherwise been fantastic.
Yeah, and I would fully expect this ODU offense to look to advance this runner, again, kind of to script for how they like to play.
So Beal comes in. 18 outings is a ton when you think of game 32 now for East Carolina, but he's been reliable.
And he inherits the 1-ball, no-strike count.
Which the fun part of baseball, if it's a walk, it's credited to the previous pitcher. He works 1-0 on Holman. Runner's moving. Wilcoxon's throw is pretty good, but just late. And a stolen base there for Hunter Cove.
Yeah, that's a pretty good jump he gets on Danny. And, that's one of those deals where, full leg lift and gives him every opportunity in the world to get that jump. I think, that was the ODU philosophy there, was to catch him off balance right out of the gate, or maybe out of mindset right out of the gate.
Hunter Cole and Old Dominion running the bases well today. 59th steal. And Holman rips one off the glove of Cunningham into right. So the stolen base does wonders, and that run scores, knotting us up at 3.
Yeah, I think this is, again, I think this is just going to be the tone of the evening, kind of back and forth, and whoever can, throw the last blow, maybe not a haymaker, is going to be the team that comes out on top. You see here, a little breaking ball catches too much of the plate, and ball well struck, gets under Cunningham's glove before he can get it knocked down out to the Jenkins Coward, and run scores easily from second base.
Old Dominion, very aggressive base stealing team. 35th in the country, 58 steals. So Nick Miller now comes up. And the club that leads the country in stolen bases is the former stomping grounds for head coach Chris Finwood, VMI. Over 115 steals this year out of the SoCon. Miller, one of the rare baseball players who keeps on his Apple Watch. I know a lot of times that's for signs and defensive alignment, but he has it at the plate as well.
Yeah, that is kind of a rarity. He's taking a look there. Maybe they're running their offense through it.
A much more efficient way to do it.
Man, I do miss signs, though,
Yeah, there's
it's an
art
to it. And yeah.
Especially now in the pitching aspect, with catchers having the earpieces and pitchers with immediate signs. Much harder to steal signs now, either direction.
Oh, yeah. It's tendencies and tips that the players are giving you. If there's maybe an elbow high on a breaking ball from a pitcher, or something like that, or you see a increased lead or a decreased lead, that you're looking for tips that the players are giving you more than trying to figure out what the sign system is.
Miller awaits the 2-1. Able to fight that one off.
A big part of this too, Danny Beal brought in to face 8-9. 8-9-1 was the original thought process. So, the Pirates feel like, hey, he's senior guy, come in and get these guys out. It certainly kudos to the 8-spot hitter for ODU and driving in that run.
Danny Beal's 2-2 is snagged in fair play, and that throw a bit high. So only a fielder's choice for the first out.
Yeah, this kind of a bounder down there. I'll tell you what, Cunningham's been busy at first base. He's had a couple rockets hit at him, and then this one, and fields it, and kind of has to rush that throw and leaves it up a little bit high. Just kind of a chopper and takes him towards it, and a little awkward footwork there. And
hard to get his momentum forward,
yeah, and
too.
you can see his back. You're exactly right. He's kind of leaning back, almost like a guy that's throwing hand grenades. He's never really got his footwork into that throw.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
There you go. Yeah, no time to it.
Only sport where you can be close.
Meteorology.
How about the eclipse this week? What'd you think?
85,
90% coverage?
You know what, bud?
You didn't get the special shades to look up into the sky?
I didn't. I did not. I missed it, largely.
Well, Mike, if you and I are here in 40 years, it'll come right over the Carolinas so we can see the full eclipse and be in darkness.
We'll get together.
2078, I'll call you. It may be AI-generated brainwave messages by that point.
Yeah, no kidding.
And if there's an eclipse in 40 more years, expect this.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of darkness and then a lot of bright mixed in. Gives you a sense of the beauty here at Clark LeClaire Stadium, right in the heart of Greenville. Kyle Edwards watches an Ephus pitch stay inside.
Yeah, that's one. If I'm a hitter, that's one I don't mind. A 76-mile-an-hour breaking ball that doesn't. Edwards made a business decision there and bailed on that one.
I think Deion Sanders was the father of that term, right? Avoiding tackles, making plays to save his career.
Oh, yeah. You could just kind of sense a little bit of the frustration with Danny. It's his last couple outings have not gone the way that he would like for him to go, and he's such a competitive guy. Finds himself here in the 3-0 hole.
A bunt attempt again, and Edwards taken all the way.
I think that was more of the we're gonna show the strike percentage against the bunt shown tonight for the Pirates or Monarchs, whichever way you want to look at it. But I think that's the first one that's been a called strike.
Jenkins Coward gives this ball chase. He might have room, and a diving effort just short. The right fielder then flips himself back up. He's got some Spider-Man senses, man. That kid is athletic.
Yeah, he's plays the game hard, man. He's always going at it, and he's a much improved defender over what we've seen.
And then a kid in the jungle and right dropped his sunglasses, so the right fielder walked over and picked him up. He's a community guy here in Greenville, no doubt. Instead, a full count here to Kyle Edwards, who takes the walk. So after this play, watch the effort, and then watch his ability to get back up. Trust me, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's going to bring Austin Knight out to have a chat with Danny, and this certainly is not going the way the Pirates wanted. We talked about in the open that throwing strikes was going to be kind of the term of the day for both clubs, and both clubs having a tough time doing that. So be interested to see. I certainly don't think, and I know they don't want to make a change this quick, but the situation may dictate it. Still only one out in the inning, and Monarchs on first and second base.
Because coming into this start, ECU had been dynamic here in Greenville. Last two efforts, of course, Tuesday and then over the previous weekend against UAB, just one run allowed in the last two starts. That is incredible numbers, and a little bit back to earth tonight, but speaking to how well this pitching staff's been here in Greenville.
Yeah, that third game against UAB, combined no-hitter taken into the ninth, 8 2/3, and gives up a little single. But yeah, they again, it's just been the tale of two staffs all year, and we're seeing Danny Bill labor out there as he falls behind to the two-spot guy.
Stephen Meyer, who had the game-winning homer when these teams met up in Norfolk. Takes a hefty swing there, and another base hit. Here comes Holman, the go-ahead run, and Old Dominion's right back in front.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? It's again. I think we're just going to watch him swap punches all night. Meyer stays on that ball and drives it out into left center, and the runner scores easily from second base. It's kind of been the routine standard for ODU, at least to this point offensively already, with 4 hits and only 1 out in the second.
7 combined hits, and we're in the second inning. This could be a high-scoring night. Danny Beal looking to navigate through some traffic now for Luke Waters. And that slider has been an out pitch all year for Beal, but he's fallen behind multiple hitters.
Whenever you watch that pitch, and that pitch just does not have much bite on it. It's kind of a 76-mile-an-hour spinner just off the plate, but not a ton of bite on it. I just don't know if it's Danny's night.
Beal, who operates so much in the gray, multiple arm angles, even drops sidearm at times. It really lives on deception. He's just not able to get hitters off balance tonight.
A lot of that is the lack of competition in the pitches. They're haven't been there to set each other up.
An Old Dominion club that clobbered the baseball against Coastal Carolina. That was on Saturday. Scored 15, but then got shut out in a run rule loss Sunday. Kind of the Jekyll and Hyde nature of college baseball.
Yeah, and it's kind of been the book on this club.
So Waters remains alive. Fights one out to right, and there's Jacob Jenkins-Cowart. He's got a cannon in right field. Excellent throw, but just offline.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Jenkins-Cowart has a very, very strong arm out in right field. That one just up the line, and they've got him a appeal at second base for leaving early.
And the runner leaves early.
Yep.
So that's one way to beat a cannon throw.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll
Old Dominion can challenge this. I don't know if they're going to. It looks like the inning's over.
Yep.
That being said, 2 runs for Old Dominion. Taking advantage now, 4-3 as we get set for the bottom of the second. After that runner just left early to end it. Welcome back to Greenville, where head coach Cliff Godwin, 4-time coach of the year in the American. His club is right up near the top again this year, 1 game out of first place. Now, right now, for his number 9 ranked team, pitching's been the story today, looking to find more of it. And you're right, Mike, this has the feeling of a 10-9, 12-8 kind of game. Who can outslug who?
Yeah, and we see the Monarchs are going to the bullpen. Hudson Trobaugh on to pitch, left-handed pitcher. We'll see if he can find the zone. And here we go again with the show bunt and throw a pitch. If we can't throw a strike when the bunt's shown, but 86 9-mile-an-hour fastball, little breaking ball change up. Let's see if he has a little better success here.
Bristol Carter will lead things off. And again, that showmanship at the plate. His speed is electric. He'll face a true freshman getting some big innings. Trobaugh he pitched 2 1/3 when these teams met in Norfolk, so not unfamiliar to this moment. That time he pounds it in. You got the feeling talking to both staffs. It was a whole staff kind of night, and each team hoping to get 1 to 2 out of their arms and piece it all together.
But I think one thing's for sure, we will not see a 4-3 final score in this ballgame.
I would agree with that bet.
I mean, yeah.
I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah.
So Carter hearing it from his home faithful here, working the count 3-1. And that time, Trobaugh finds it.
Yeah, and I think this is going to get everybody fired up, including Coach Godwin.
He thought that pitch was down.
And I mean, it's borderline at best. But I would have to agree with him.
So instead, the 3-2 is fought out of play. Great effort, but it overshoots. Waters there. Oh, his jersey's stuck.
That was all right.
Now imagine if he was on the other side in the wrong team's bullpen. I don't know if they're helping him out as much.
Yeah, great effort by him. And I tell you, it's interesting. We've had a lot of action on the right side of the field.
Who put that fence there?
To be this early in a game.
Then the buttons get stuck into the top of the fence. Good news, Waters is okay. So another payoff pitch. And that time it misses, so Carter with the leadoff walk. Back-to-back innings with leadoff walks for the Pirates.
Yeah, and I think it's more than safe to say there's certainly some concern, at least from the Pirate side of the field, with home plate umpire Gregory Walls' a strike zone. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that progresses through the evening.
Now it's Dixon Williams attempting to bunt. This is an East Carolina team, top 13 in the country in sac flies and sac bunts. Small ball is such an important factor here for Cliff Godwin.
Always has been. Pressure on the opposing team.
A team that is scoring just over 7.5 a game. And right now just daring Trobaugh to throw strikes.
You saw Dixon there show bunt, pull it back, and little look at a sluggo there, slash effort. Hard to slash into the dirt, though.
Facing an Old Dominion pitching staff, it's been a weird year, to say the least. They've alternated games with double-figure strikeouts and 7 or more walks.
Yeah,
either really good or a lot of trouble.
Again, I mean, going back to earlier comments, man, that is the story of this Monarch club, is just who's going to show up today.
Right now, a 4-3 lead for Old Dominion.
You know, again, to me, that's a fairly generous strike call. I mean, that's, you know.
Definitely east to west. There's a lot of room today.
Yeah.
Not as much north-south. If you're team latitude, you're set. If you're team longitude, you might be in some trouble. That time Williams just flails at the bunt attempt.
I mean, smart by Trobaugh to go back out there if they're going to give it to him. You know, actually maybe to even extend, maybe try to get another half a baseball width or whatever, you know, whatever he'll allow you.
Now time's called. I believe the batter called time. Now Trobaugh set. And that slider is knocked down. Good play by Holman, who just scored the go-ahead run a minute ago.
Interesting situation here, 3-2, no out. See what kind of confidence that Coach Godwin has. And Dixon Williams put the ball in play. I would think this would potentially be an opportunity to see him off here. Bristol Carter, good runner at first base.
And now the pitcher steps off.
Tell you what, this game has had a lot of things tonight. Rhythm is not one of them.
As Pirate Nation on its feet before the 3-2.
I think they were guessing kind of the same way I am. And lefty up there, might as well take a look at him and let him know you're thinking about him over at first base.
Cliff Godwin encouraging this crowd before the 3-2 and another pickoff.
That's
Hold on, that's a balk.
They got a balk up there, yep.
Broke the three-quarter, and now runner in scoring position.
That's going to bring the coaching staff out of the dugout for a conversation with Gary Swanson over at first base. Yeah, I don't know if it's so much the stride or the let's see, looks like Swanson's giving some indication with his hands, but certainly something that the first base umpire didn't like there and balks him, and everybody agrees to disagree, and we'll go back to playing baseball.
The left-handed balk is one of the most subjective things in baseball.
Yeah, that is. You know what, Ev, your first call was absolutely correct. He certainly was past his 45-degree allowance.
So now man's in scoring position. And the Pirates take advantage. Williams the base hit. Here comes that speed to the plate. Good throw, but just late. And we're back even.
Yeah, I mean, it's the little things of baseball. It's those free 90s. It's those extra bases, and the balk proves to be punitive there for Old Dominion. And it looks like we're having a conversation with the shortstop and the pitcher as though, are they questioning whether or not he hit second base?
There's a lot to be discussed in these first 2 innings.
On. So whatever it was, they decided not to worry about it and move on, I think.
I see what you're saying there. Good point. Instead, we got a 4-4 game with 4 hits for each squad, and we're only in the second inning. If you had dinner plans, cancel those reservations. We got a lot of baseball. And Riley Johnson with these fake bunts really causing trouble for Hudson Trobaugh tonight.
You know, when halfway, roughly, or a little less than halfway through the season, and a big comment all year has been how quickly that pitchers have worked. This is an exception to that game so far, at least.
This is working every second of that 20-second pitch clock.
Another one that Coach Godwin's going to let him know he's not completely satisfied. Maybe a quick glance in the stands to bite its tongue, but
this time Johnson not attempting to bunt. He'll pull it out late and put it in a risky spot. Good coverage by Trobaugh for the out. Otherwise, that's an infield hit.
Yeah, really nice athleticism by the left-hander bouncing that way. You see a great slide here. Bristol Carter with the great speed and really no tag effort until he's well past him. Man, I tell you what, you can teach a lot of things, but you can't teach speed, and this Pirate club has lots of it.
Taking advantage of the balk to even this game up.
A little reminiscent of the Trey Turner smooth, hop up there. Those that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. If
with
not,
the backhand swipe on the base.
And easy. If not, go look at it. It's pretty cool to watch.
Another player spent a lot of time here in the Carolinas at NC State, as that one's bunted foul.
One of the last things that most people would expect out of a game, not if they didn't know the teams or the coach or the play, they go, well, this guy's hitting 400. What's he doing up here bunting? But that's just the nature of Pirate baseball.
Carter Cunningham, fresh off a 9-hit week, fights one off. He had a double earlier tonight. So the hit streak now for Cunningham, very impressive. 7 games.
Yeah, lost one and started another one.
Makes that man a very happy camper, his 10-year head coach, Cliff Godwin, here in Greenville. Meyer now finds the baseball, and he's got it for the second out. In there at third on the sac fly.
Well, you get a runner to third base with 2 outs, and lots of things can happen. You see that one, Cunningham just kind of gets under it just a little bit. That's a big league fly ball. Meyer gathers it and gets it in as quickly as possible. Not quite quick enough to catch the speedy Dixon Williams, who another one of those burners for the Pirates.
Jenkins Coward a bit late on that fastball. He's been electric with men on the bases this year. 340 with runners in scoring position, including a single tonight.
We see him back in the Jenkins Coward shift with 3 of the 4 infielders on the right side of second base.
That is a really good breaking ball, but it stays in. One of the best hitters in this Pirate lineup, up with 2 outs. And able to locate there is Trobaugh.
Tell you what, pitching both sides of the plate, it's kind of like when he has good sequences, they're really good. It's just he's had those pitches that just kind of get away from him.
Needs a pitch here on 1-2. And a nice location to end the inning. Jenkins Coward a bit surprised. That being said, we got 4s apiece on this base hit, knotting things up through 2 high-scoring innings. Coach Chris Finwood's developed a couple of nice programs here. 2 the last 3 years, 40-plus wins for ODU. Uber consistent in the last Baker dozen of years. And right now for this program, it's 16-15. There's been some nationally ranked wins. It's a really tough schedule. And now ODU needs a nice performance tonight heading back into Sunbelt play.
Yeah, you know, when that stop at VMI, that's kind of an interesting place. It's produced lots of guys that have gone on to college coaching success, including their opponent this upcoming weekend. Marlon Eichenberry, head coach at JMU, actually played for Coach Finwood there at VMI. So VMI's a kind of an interesting deal. Tough place to go. You got to be committed to it. Obviously a heck of an education, and has produced some guys that have had great success at the college baseball level.
Finwood there, VMI won the 93 SoCon title. A team the previous year that only won 2 games. He takes over the staff. They win a conference title.
Yeah, another local tie there, Tanner Biagini, who's a D.H. Conley product, is associate head coach at Towson. So another VMI guy, again, just to kind of further illustrate the point that's gone on to have success in the coaching ranks.
One of the historic military academies. VMI, Citadel, of course, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Everyone forgets Paul Skeens was an All-American in the Air Force. He was fantastic before heading to LSU, and there's a hit by pitch.
That one's almost dead in the number, top of the number 8. Kind of drop down slot ball, just gets away from Danny Bill. It just runs up and in, maybe just inside of the 8. That one's in the rib cage. That's going to.
How much of this tonight, if you're Cliff Godwin, is a feeling out process for Bill? He had a tough outing at FAU. You wanting him to work through some of those issues tonight?
Man, 100%. It's go out there and kind of find that confidence that Danny Bill needs to have success. And right now it's just it's a bit of a struggle for him.
Those are the views from Margaret DeBrule, who's walking around giving us some special camera shots tonight. Margaret's a marathoner. She'll go to Disney every couple months, run a half marathon. I couldn't do it, but it's fun to watch from time to time.
Yeah, I can assure you that's 2 things that I have no desire to do, go to Disney or run a half a marathon.
You're not a Disney guy?
Well, I'm kind of past that, F.
I guess we are at a certain age. This ball's rocketed to second. That could be a double play. And the Mickey Mouse ears are clicking. There's a DP for the Pirates.
Nice turn by the middle there. Good play by Dixon Williams. Feed over to Joey Barini. Dixon Williams, obviously, as we've mentioned, playing for the injured Jacob Starling, but more the game there. Has played this isn't his first game there, right? I mean, not only is his time as a Pirate, but his infielders are infielders, and he's a good one.
15th double play turn this year by Cliff Godwin's defense. And now it's Maverick Stallings, who will not be starring in the next Ace Maverick movie.
It's only the 3rd inning. We're already digging into movie references, and we've had an
hour to talk about.
We've had a Mickey Mouse conversation. Tell you what, nobody needed that ground ball there more than Danny Bill.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is truly the pitcher's best friend for a guy who's having a little bit of a tough time and trying to find his stuff.
Who came in outside of this past weekend as one of the best relievers in the American Athletic. maybe in the country, as that one's fought off.
You know, Danny's had the kind of year that when he's been good, he's been really, really good, and almost good to the point that you forget how effective he was in those outings. But when he's had bumps in the road, they're ones that just stand out, most specifically the one at probably the one at UNCW, and maybe second would be, you know, this past weekend in Game 2 at FAU.
That was a comeback win for the Owls. Yeah, it looks like Old Dominion keeps the signs on the wrist for every hitter with those Apple Watches. I like it. Next generation offensively, not just on the mound. So Beal's 2-2 is right back up the middle and a 2-out knock for Stallings.
You know, again, we keep talking about the little things, but that makes that double play that much bigger.
And now for Beal, his third hit surrendered.
And again, the pitches, you know, his pitches just don't have a ton of bite on them, and that's just kind of a BP off-speed pitch in the heart of the plate, and just not very much tilt.
So here's Hunter Cole in the heart of the ODU lineup.
Wow. Generous strikes, goes both ways.
Yeah, I think both teams are asking a lot of questions of the strike zone.
Yeah, I've never seen an umpire get ejected, but if the two coaches get together, we may see it tonight.
The Randolph-Macon transfer in a bit of a hole. And he takes a filthy hack. Came full circle, started his career at VMI. Chris Finwood, who spent a decade at the military academy, now in a decade plus at Old Dominion, found him for Randolph-Macon. Little D2 to D1 transfer. So Beal's 0-2, filthy slider, and that's the pitch Pirate Nation's used to seeing from Danny Beal. A scoreless frame for the first time all night, and this game remains knotted at 4.
We call it drive. The unrelenting desire to become the person you were born to be. Ignited by a moment. The realization that a future you could only dream of is within reach. At East Carolina University, you won't just imagine a path. You'll forge one through hard work and the success that comes without surrender. The journey that leads to your future. And this is where it begins.
New arm for Old Dominion. It's Kellen Davis coming in. Sophomore arm. And this is interesting tonight with all the new faces, different arms that have come in. Only 3 appearances last year for Kellen. He's been much more relied upon this year out of the pen, including has not allowed a run since February 23rd. Really good in these one-inning spots.
Yeah, talking to, again, their guys before, he's maybe his max outing this year was 1 inning, and I think they even said he hasn't thrown one complete, but he leads their team in wins, kind of the cheapy steal wins. But he's, pretty gaudy numbers, 11 strikeouts to no walks, and has that slider that he'll throw at any time. So a guy that, another 86 to 90, but a guy that has been really effective. You almost have to wonder why they haven't gone with him a little bit more.
So Ryan McChrystal will test the Rubik's Cube. It's been the new arm out of the pen, Kellen Davis. In fact, in 2 of those 3 wins, he's thrown 4 pitches. Earned the win, got 1 out, basically, and then his offense did the rest.
It's pretty good.
I'm all about efficiency, as that slider is filthy. He's a two-pitch guy, but very heavily on that slider in terms of the splits. And that's the challenge for Ryan McChrystal, who kind of shakes his head after that pitch.
Top of the zone there with the fastball at 87.
McChrystal, who popped up to center, part of an offense that scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second.
There's the hard breaking ball off the plate. Kind of interesting mechanically for Davis. You know, it's kind of the old school over the head and kind of the camp separation. You know, you teach him in camp, you kind of get to the goalpost position kind of look, and that's kind of, you know, Davis gives you that look. It's a little.
He has
different.
A quarterback throwing motion.
It's almost like a catcher's arm slide. You know, where it's that short kind of. But yeah, obviously it's been effective for him, and that they're right. That slider's definitely got some bite.
That time it's fouled off by McChrystal, who has bumped his average up 40 points in the month of March. Now riding a 3-game hit streak here in early April. Not as enjoyable as that man chomping down a slice of pizza behind home plate.
How about that?
I'll take one of those. And the filthy slider does just enough, slicing up a punch out there for new arm Kellen Davis.
Yeah, quality pitch there. I mean, it's the now you see me, now you don't breaking ball, and it's. I mean, that thing's got some feel to it. That's the kind of the 58-foot variety, but enough to fool McChrystal into offering.
Look at the late break on that pitch, too. Right at the cut of the grass, it just dies off the plate. So Colby Wallace faces the shorter version of that slider. Cliff Godwin talking this week about the defensive development of Wallace, but he loves his raw power. Because all of a sudden it's 0-2.
You know, I'm just looking in kind of at the grip here. That's almost like a knuckle curve as opposed to the slider there. You'll kind of see that index finger, you know, kind of knuckling in there, biting into the ball when he throws that.
Yeah, there's the sharper version, no doubt.
He kind of has a little air about him, too, of hey, man,
I see a closer's mentality.
Yeah, it kind of is what it is, and I'm coming at you with what I got, and you can either hit it or not. Kind of, you know, for lack of or to reuse an old overused cliche, kind of the bulldog mentality on the mound.
And he pounds in a fastball that time for the punch out. Back-to-back Ks for Kellen Davis.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, it's not overpowering velocity at 88. Top part of the zone, though, you know, the big talk is spin rate, and thing looks like it holds its line pretty good. But you have to respect the slider. It's just enough to make that fastball look, you know, that much faster, that much quicker.
Now Justin Wilcoxon's turn. That is why Kellen Davis has not allowed a run in a month and a half. He's gone 9 straight innings scoreless. Wilcoxon catches that right at the top of the zone.
Tell you what, Holman's done a pretty nice job back there of kind of, I don't want to say baiting, but offering Walls, a home plate umpire, every opportunity to see these borderline pitches. Not a whole lot he can do with that one.
So the 2-1.
There it is.
Yeah,
I see you got a little knuckle up on it.
It's not Wakefield-esque, but it has a little bit of that late movement.
And it's not a knuckle ball. It's a knuckle curve to where he digs that thing into the seam where he's throwing it, and it's almost a half of the plate pitch. You throw it to the inside or the outside half, or even at the heart like you did there, and just count on the action. But it's becoming a more and more vogue pitch for a lot of guys that are trying to develop breaking balls.
And then the out pitch has been the heater. The last 3 batters, 3 up, 3 down for Kellen Davis. One of the stud arms out of the ODU bullpen here through 3 innings and finally some pitching here in the 3rd. Welcome back to Greenville, where number 9 East Carolina has maybe the biggest series win of any team in the top 10, defeating a now currently top 15 Carolina club, and 5 one-run losses. What a difference a couple of runs can make here for East Carolina. They've gotten back in form, last 2 series wins in the AAC, and complementing good weekend play with some quality midweek wins as well.
Yeah, and this is the byproduct of having played yesterday and having some pitching concerns, and it's so funny. I mean, we keep alluding to the stats, and the stats are the stats. There's nothing we can do, right? They are what they are. But any Pirate fan that has watched this team at any kind of length knows that the bullpen has been up and down, more ups than downs of late. But you see Danny Beal back out there trying to kind of settle into Danny Beal form.
Coming up on 35 pitches. He entered in the second inning. This is one of East Carolina's stud relievers, 2 high leverage arm, and it gives you a sense of how tight this game's been early.
You know what, Ev, the last breaking ball he threw in the last half, and then that one there is more like what you expect out of Danny.
Now he forces weak contact. No, you're right. That strikeout to end the inning, there was a bit of swagger from Beal as well.
Hard breaking balls, almost as if when he was leaving the mound, it's like, okay, I found it. So I expect we'll see it a few more times here, and they do have, again, an arm up in the East Carolina bullpen, which, again, I think that's just going to be a constant throughout the night.
In the search of treasure, Danny Beal in his 18th appearance may have found his stuff. It's ripped hard right at second. And there's a quick out.
Yeah, that's a breaking ball, catches a lot of the plate. It does have decent tilt, but just
almost comes back to the zone.
Yeah, just kind of catches a little too much of the heart there. And that's the risk with trying to throw a backdoor breaking pitch, is that if you miss with it, you're going to miss over the heart of the plate, and that's obviously not a good thing.
Nick Miller, who played at Paris Junior College out in Texas, has me thinking about the Paris Olympics coming up this June and July. Are you a sailing guy? Is that your Olympic sport?
100%.
You sailing? For me personally, the swimming stuff always gets me. The Winter Olympics are fantastic as well with the skiing and shooting competition.
Yeah. No,
where they go 5,000 meters. The bobsled in the Winter Olympics are fantastic. And it's a little cold for that man in Greenville. He's bundling up tonight. No swing that time. I guess more importantly, baseball and softball coming back to the Olympics in 28 in Los Angeles.
It's a big deal. The Olympic golf, I think, is kind of interesting. Here we are, Masters Week, but
I can smell the azaleas up in Augusta right now. Good scoop by Cunningham, who politely runs the grounds and makes the play for the second out.
Yeah, it kind of looked like there was going to be a little bit of a foot race between Danny Beal and Carter to see who was going to handle that one. I was kind of glad to see Carter defer and offer the feed over to Danny to handle it at first base.
You're right. Beal was about a half second late. He had to turn it on real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he put that foot in a dangerous spot. It's funny, right? How many times you practice PFPs.
Oh, yeah.
And then you do it in a real game, and then you have to match that footwork just right.
It is an absolute constant of any quality program, pitcher fielding practices. And that communication there, ball hit on the right side, and reminders, constant reminders, hey, ground ball my side, get over. Carter could relay up there, hey, I'm deep, so make sure you cover me.
And for a pitcher who falls to the third base side,
makes it a little more
difficult. It does add a
difficult.
challenge to that. As Pirate faithful out there in left, they're waiting for something to cheer about. ODU struck early. They have matched East Carolina run for run since.
Danny already up to soon to throw his 45th pitch.
Danny Beal, who's second in the country in outings. This is his 18th appearance. For this outing, not necessarily high leverage, but for him finding some confidence after allowing 2 runs on Saturday against FAU.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, he wants to, again, he has standards, and again, he's such a great guy, super competitor.
And he looks to get out of the inning. Edwards pops one up. Riley Johnson there to finish things off. Couple of scoreless from Danny Beal on a beautiful night in Greenville. All knotted at 4. News and notes across the American Athletic Conference. Big weekend for USF with a series sweep. They're right back in the hunt, and all of a sudden 6 teams within 2 games of first place. Now, this is a conference that's far from decided. We got a fun month of April coming up.
No, and it is one. It's kind of a who thunk it conference with some of the success that you're seeing with UTSA and of course Memphis being where they are. I don't think anybody would have thought that. And who would have thought that Rice would have one win at conference? So, yeah, a lot of moving parts, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing shakes, the rest of the way.
Tulane, the reigning tournament champs. East Carolina's won the regular season for the last 5 years. A lot of success here for Cliff Godwin's club, and right now it's UTSA in first place. It's 7-2 in the league. So a new arm for Old Dominion out of the pen, Lincoln Ransom. Not only an elite last name, but he's got good stuff. 90-95 on this fastball for the senior at a nearby Whiteville.
Lincoln Ransom is like a Yellowstone kind of name, like a character from that trilogy.
He's a Jack Bundy type name. There's a lot of uniqueness. Good swing and a miss there from Barini. This is Lincoln's 8th inning of the year. 8 runs given up. There'll be a lot of new faces you'll see tonight for Old Dominion.
And with that fastball velocity, not a ton of strikeouts, only 5 strikeouts and 5 walks on the season for Lincoln.
There's a swing and a miss and a good start for Lincoln Ransom. His 6th K of the year.
See, just rears back, kind of a riding fastball. Actually, a little late sink to it. Maybe a little cutter there. Just misses the bat of Barini.
Yeah, that pitch is hard to describe, but it's also hard to hit.
Yeah, I think had some arm side for sure.
And there's the looping breaking ball that stays up to Bristol Carter.
And I can assure you, if Ransom was wearing the powder purple today, the fans would have erupted on that one, as did the ODU dugout question where that ball missed.
That time a strike. Bristol Carter fresh off his first career home run yesterday in that run rule victory over Elon.
Yeah, it's kind of rare that you have a combined no-hitter, a 7-inning game, and 3 home runs in 1 inning all in that 7-inning game. That's kind of, that's the beauty of sport. You never know, right? You go to the ballpark or the ball field or wherever you're going, you're just not quite sure what you might see.
And Carter's been a stud freshman here for East Carolina. Not only defensively, where he shined with a couple of SportsCenter catches, but the bat's coming along now. 333 clip for the freshman.
Yeah, a guy that a lot of Pirate fans were concerned may not make it to campus has, had some draft interest, and They're super glad he did get here.
This time he fights one off.
You know, he brings that freshman energy, that newness, that excitement. That hey, this is also cool for the first trip. But as you've watched him through the season, you see that maturation process. He's a really good player, and I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, as Lincoln Ransom wants a new baseball.
Yeah, this is definitely the most deliberate pitching staff that I've seen this year in college baseball. Everybody else has kind of seemed to subscribe to the catch it and throw it philosophy, and we've seen a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different isms.
Well, part of that is playing to the tempo of Old Dominion and slowing ECU's offense that is so runners on base, walk hit by pitch centric, make them earn at bats.
You know, and historically that was a way to beat this ECU offense, was to dictate the pace of the game.
Slow roller here from Carter.
Yeah,
tough test. Edwards, he's got a gun and puts it to use.
I tell you what, that's a great play by the shortstop. Edwards comes in and gets that ball. I think more importantly, Ev, is we'll watch a replay here. The arm strength is definitely a tool, but man, how quickly he gets rid of that thing in rhythm and puts that throw on the money. And we're talking about a guy in Bristol Carter that is obviously an above average and maybe even borderline elite runner.
Yeah, great transfer there from Edwards at short.
We've seen him make a couple nice plays tonight.
Returning starter. Played 18 games last year at short. He's really earned his keep this year. Dixon Williams swinging the bat well in the month of April. Rips another base hit. So a 2-for-2 day.
Yeah, on cue for you. You know, and they're just starting to fall for him. Like that one, you know, that same swing and that same produce result as far as contact off the bat early in the years hit right to the second baseman. Now, you know, things are kind of, as they say, the worm is turning, and Dixon finds a hole there and is starting to find more and more, and the numbers reflect that.
His fourth multi-hit game of the month. Lincoln Ransom is already drenched in sweat. You can tell how hard it is to get strikes and get outs tonight. Lincoln Ransom battling some nerves tonight against a dangerous ECU offense. That time he dots it up real well.
Yeah, I think the resolve for both teams may as well be just to understand you're going to have to deal with it. And it looks like a fairly consistent low strike. It looks like a fairly consistent outside striker inside the right-handers.
Runner moving. Good throw and a better tag. Holman able to gun out the runner.
That was one of the things they said. Holman is good on the call stealing to second base. He proves it right there.
Holman ends the fourth. That is a perfect throw and an out to record. Halfway through the college baseball season, and what a start for the Clemson Tigers, rolling through the ACC. East Carolina up to number 9, its highest ranking of the year, and really gives you a sense of how good East Coast baseball's been. Florida State back in the top 10, Duke now at 7. There's a chance for a lot of local regionals, giving these teams hot starts.
Yeah, when you expand that thing out to look at the top 20 or 25, man, the regional presence, the North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia presence, as you see it right there, is just all over the place.
And with Kurtz healthy again for Wake Forest, 5 home runs in 2 games, those bats are cooking in Winston-Salem.
Yeah, you had to know that Wake Forest wasn't going to stay as silent as they have been.
Congrats to Nebraska, back in the top 25 for the first time in 5 years. Really good start in Big Ten play. So now it's Stephen Meyer up. Danny Beal has found his rhythm the last 2 innings. He can't find the baseball, though.
No, there it is. He kind of looked at the glove. 50 pitches into this outing. I think I know that I, for one, am surprised to see him out there, and I wonder what the use plan is for him going into the weekend. And I don't know if they're not saying it's more important for them for the long run that he find his stuff or have every effort to find his stuff tonight. And
Riley Johnson there to help him out and track it down. That pitch count now at 51 and counting would be his season best or season high.
You know, when Danny Beal's not a strikeout kind of guy, I mean, just doesn't, that's not the stuff he has. It's that soft contact like you saw right there. We've seen some of that. We've seen some balls hit hard right at guys. But Danny Beal's going to have success when he's kind of controlling the kind of contact he's given up.
Cliff Godwin noted this week after the loss to FAU, Beal said he wanted the ball for 2-3+ innings and took that loss tough on his shoulders. But Coach Godwin wanted to give him an opportunity to get right back on the bump. And we've noted in this game how much of that is, 1, getting innings, 2, getting confidence heading back into conference play.
Yeah. And look, let's face it. I mean, it is what it is. Danny Beal is much needed by this Pirate staff.
18th outing, now over 30 innings. And he's looked really good the last 3.
And that's that kind of riding fastball from that 3/4 slot. Kind of rides up and in on the hitter. That's going to be tough to hit, especially if he can back it up with the breaking ball. And we've seen it come around the last few he's thrown. So let's see if he see where he goes here.
The 1-2 is poked in the hole, well placed for Luke Waters, and the 6th hit of the game for Old Dominion.
You know, again, that's not something that I mean, not a bad pitch, decent piece of hitting, just kind of bad luck. You go back at it and know that you throw a ground ball here and you're out of the inning.
Hit it where they ain't sometimes.
You know, and Luke Waters is that kind of player, too. We're talking about a guy that's Sunbelt Baseball podcast. They've started doing that, and he has been the 2-time starting 9 of the week participant. So a guy that hasn't had the league-level accolades that maybe they had hoped for as a program at ODU, he's still getting some recognition from close followers of the league.
Here's Alex Boucher. By the way, that hit for Waters now hits in 7 of his last 8 games. He's been a spark plug. And then a filthy slider. Now that's the pitch Beal's lived on all year.
Yeah, that's that off-speed 77 bender, and man, that thing looks like it's going to be harder than it is because he can show you one that's harder than that. It's kind of hard to lay off and effective. See if he can back it up.
.57 pitches now for Beal, and that one just misses.
Yeah, same pitch. Just tried to extend it a little bit. See what he could get.
He entered in the 2nd and had to navigate a tough inning, couple of walks, some self-inflicted wounds, but has been really good since.
Definitely got Boucher looking away. Let's see if he'll come in on him here and tie him up a little.
No relation to Bobby.
I was just wondering how long we were going to go without a Bobby Boucher reference.
The over-under is the 5th inning.
I mean, you got to go there.
Mama said strikeouts are for the devil.
The devil.
It's an Old Dominion team. Leads the Sun Belt, 60 stolen bases. Very aggressive. Runner not moving this time.
You know, Bill being a guy that does use a higher leg kick is going to have to do what he just did right there, and that's, you know, hold the ball, kind of steal the momentum from the base runner at first base, and, you know, mixing rhythms, mixing looks. Pick occasionally, let them know you're thinking about them.
Runner moving, and a sharp base hit. Runner had to hold at second that time, but sharp hit from Alex Boucher.
Yeah, I hope he didn't hurt himself. The runner going into second base, Waters, kind of stumbled. Looked like maybe he hung a spike just before he got there. Looks like he's okay, though. Probably good fortune. I don't know if he was.
Yeah, I think he was in between taking a hard turn or slowing up at the base.
Yeah, you can see he's wincing a little bit.
Remember, Waters earlier in the game almost lost his jersey on the railings. There's been a lot happening for Alex Waters today. Yeah, watch his route on the way to second.
Yeah, kind of in between, thinking maybe the third baseman may come up with it. So he's going to have to break up the double play. But unbeknownst, it gets by Wallace at third base. And as he tries to chop his steps there, you know, it looks like it could have been one of those. In football, they call a non-contact injury, you know, to where you just kind of get your foot hung up in the turf and tweak something. But I think he's okay. Quick conversation out there to buy another pitch or two for the bullpen, and that'll bring.
And Danny Beal's night looks to be over.
Yeah, bring the boss out. He's going to come out and take the ball and, you know, pat Danny on the back and give it to somebody else.
Yeah, so let's watch the finish here again for Waters.
Yeah, you see he's head down there, and that straight, little bit of straight steal. He's kind of got a bad angle on that. He's thinking I'm going to have to slide. No, wait a minute.
Oh, he tripped himself.
Yeah, that's just a trip, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was. It looked like he was starting to get into slide position, but then he had the little trip, and luckily he's okay. That was my concern is did he tweak a hamstring or, you know.
Pitching change here for the Pirates as Danny Beal's night is over here in the fifth. Ethan Norby comes into pitch for the Pirates. He actually started the first matchup against Old Dominion up in Norfolk, and Norby, a talented freshman from East Forsyth out in the Kernersville area. A tough outing, 3 unearned runs at FAU when he came in a win for East Carolina. Now he looks to settle some damage here in the 5th inning.
You know, in the last time we saw him here at Clark LeClaire, he had a great outing in that Game 3 start against UAB. So another guy that's kind of had some ups and downs, and quite frankly, in his last outing was a little bit of a victim of circumstance. But we'll see. I mean, there's so much promise there, and I know this is a guy that they would really love to get going and kind of help shore up that weekend rotation.
He'll now face Kenny Lavari in the middle of this Old Dominion lineup. Ethan, whose brother Connor, part of the Orioles organization. What a week for young Holiday. Jackson getting the big league call-up.
What a week for Connor, man. He banged the ball all over the ballpark. It's amazing he's not up there yet. But, you know, and I was actually going to say the same thing. I wonder what his thoughts were as the young Holiday gets the call to the bigs.
That phone call or the talk, he struck out in his MLB debut earlier today. But 20-year-old getting his big league prospect between Gunnar Henderson and Holiday. There's a lot of young talent with the Orioles right now. Norby right up there with them. Connor Norby. Neat to see a franchise that for 20 years past Cal Ripken has struggled to be consistent. Now they're one of the best teams in baseball year after year. Did Lavari go on that pitch? He did not.
Tell you what, it's really, really close, at least to the naked eye. We'll see what we get here. Yeah, you know, that's one of those that goes either way. Kind of umpire's discretion, as they all are. You know, this is a really tough matchup for Lavari. You see open stance, it kind of strides to open. Norby throwing the big sweeping breaking ball. It's going to be a tough one for Lavari to get to unless Norby just makes a mistake.
Lavari on 3-2, tips it foul.
This is one of the few left-handed bats in the lineup for ODU that has the potential to, you know, to hurt you with home run power at a big juncture in the game. He, you know, he's got 4 on the year.
Norby with a sweeper, and there's a strikeout.
Yeah, there's the breaking ball. Again, that's a tough matchup for Lavari. It just doesn't match his swing type. I mean, again, he's almost what you would describe as, you know, stepping in the bucket if you're a little leaguer, or maybe, you know, a term that all of us have heard. He starts open, stays open, and it's going to be hard to hit that sweeping left-handed breaking ball.
2-out chance here for Maverick Stallings, who's been good in these spots. 3-12 with men in scoring position. Maverick's been a bit of a breakout star if you talk to this Old Dominion coaching staff. Fresh transfer coming in. Was not the starter in fall ball, but earned the opportunity now at second base.
You know, I appreciate that shot that the crew just gave us. I've been looking at his batting gloves, trying to figure out if those are like gardening gloves or so. I've seen guys do that in the past, but I think they're just a dark, maybe almost a brown. I think, well, it's the Evo Shield is a hand guard that's over top of the batting gloves.
It looks like the dirt of the glove is actually blended together.
Yeah, or it's I'm a little confused about those.
Take your pastel painting, go to work on some wood, and see what happens. Here's strike 2.
Wow. Stallings certainly not happy with the strike zone. That's 2 pitches he's had called on him that he thought were maybe a little more ballish than that.
Freshman Ethan Norby pitching here on 1-2. And just misses.
Hey, you know, based on the other 2 that we've seen called in this at bat, I'm not real sure where this pitch misses. That's one of those you call from the dugout and you go, hey, we set up over the plate, because that hit him right between the, you know, hit Wilcox right between the shin guards there. So not sure where that one missed.
Instead, a 3-2 count to Stallings.
Now all the infielders have reminded each other to go across, because obviously the runners will be in motion here. This is a big pitch at this point in the game. After
Beal struggled in the 5th, now it's up to the freshman, Ethan Norby. Now his 3-2 is tipped foul.
You know, with just a little bit of doubt from the hitter about what the strike zone is, kind of opens things up for you a little bit if you're Norby, because, I mean, if you're the hitter, you know, Stallings cannot be overly selective here. Obviously, it's a 3-2 count. You don't want to do that anyway, but we've seen some questionable ball strike calls.
Another 3-2. That time he tots it up.
Yep, froze him right there for the big punch out.
Big pitch for Ethan Norby to end the 5th. Pirate Nation's loving it as Norby comes in and shuts the door. These are the latest D1 baseball regional projections, and it kind of fits for a really fun North Carolina-based regional 8-9 matchup. ECU and NC State, who just faced last Tuesday, and then Chris Pollard's Duke club. I know we're a month and a half out from selection, but if you're a North Carolina baseball fan, this is a fantastic regional matchup.
It's something to be excited about, but okay, we've been doing this long enough. What are the chances that any of this comes to pass? I mean, maybe save the fact that East Carolina Duke may or may not host. I mean, or may host. The rest of it is such. It's fun to talk about.
And it shows, though, that both those programs are playing great baseball.
No, huge deal. And, they match up down the road here. It's going to be another one of these big midweek matchups for both clubs.
We'll battle here on May 7th. It's a midweek game. Duke fresh off a series sweep of Miami. Couple of walk-off wins for the Blue Devils. And Riley Johnson will pop up the first pitch. Just gives you a sense of how much that wind's blowing out tonight for the first out.
Yeah, no question. That ball carried a little further than the right fielder thought Waters. But, yeah, back to your point, and what a great job Chris Pollard has done at Duke coming over from Appalachian State. And, I mean, they last night East Carolina softball hosts the number 3 team in the country, and who was that? Duke. And then you got baseball doing what they're doing, and then good Duke football. I think Duke's making a stance to say, hey, we're not just a basketball school.
Yeah, of course, Duke men's lacrosse, number 1 in the country. They're a legitimate title threat year after year.
Yeah, good call.
Right now, it's number 9 East Carolina repping this neck of the woods really well on the baseball side. This one's popped out of play. That kind of drops in the magical no-man land where there's a tent back there behind third. A little hospitality tent.
Yeah. Replay
tent. No campfires in that tent, I can assure you.
Well, not yet. Night's still young.
Maybe if the Pirates win a super regional here and make a trip to Omaha, there might be a whole fire in the ballpark, given the ecstatic excitement.
Lincoln Ransom back out for a second inning of work. This is the first Monarch pitcher that we've seen go more than one.
4th different arm of the night.
We got the report of the big velocity from some of their staff folks, but we're yet to see it. I don't know if it's one of those dial it back and control the zone, but he has the ability to show you. I mean, the report we're getting from them is that, up to 95. That one's 92 kind of as we're talking about it, but it's been a lot of 86, 88, and breaking balls.
Well, you can tell when he's locked in like that pitch with some late life to it, it carries some velo. Now, you're right about the spin rate part of it, though. A lot of it, too, is keeping that ball up in the zone with consistent like that.
Yeah, there it is.
And then 92 looks a whole lot faster in that part of the zone.
Yeah, it's kind of a mind game, right? The ball holds the line, a higher spin rate. Fastball stays kind of truer. It's what people used to describe as an exploding fastball or a rising fastball. It's just truly a fastball that holds its line, and your mind feels like it's going to be a little lower than it is and just can't quite get to it.
So Cunningham goes down swinging. 2 quick outs for Jacob Jenkins Coward, who nutmegged the umpire. I did not have that one on my bingo card tonight.
That's how many bingo cards you got going today? Because we've checked it several times.
I've yelled bingo like 3 times, but no one's brought a prize in
several
yet.
Times.
With the Greenville legend Mike Mullis, I'm EvanBudrovich. Kyle Gaskins producing tonight, the pride of New Bern.
What's funny with Ransom, as we mentioned that fastball, we've seen him run it up there, 92, 93, kind of mixing it in more in this inning.
He's kept these ECU hitters off balance, especially in this 5th inning. Jenkins Coward continues to battle here. And just late on the breaking ball. Jenkins Coward, who's now top 75 in the country in hits. A combo of Cunningham and Jenkins Coward have been really good. And the at-bat continues.
Great effort there by Holman to try to snatch that strike for him. You see it kind of just off, maybe a ball and a half off. He's going to
He's a very good presenter of the baseball.
He is, and there's been more interesting calls made tonight, so why not?
He tries it again, and that's down for a walk. And it's not like this lineup provides much breathing room. Ryan McChrystal, who's riding a 4-game hit streak, now comes up.
You know, still a lot of baseball left, but early on we were certainly thinking it was going to be a slugfest, and see both teams throw up a bunch of zeros since the second inning.
McChrystal on an 0-for-2 start with some attention over there. And that ball almost got away.
Yeah. Which we've already seen that one time tonight, too, with the ODU pitcher with a pick that got away, and third baseman's going to go out and have a chat.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want if you're Old Dominion, just giving away free bases. That actually allowed the third run for the Pirates to score. And good news, there's no eclipse tonight. You can see the moon and the sun.
There you go.
All coming together. You ever been to the dark side of the moon, though? Heard it's pretty mysterious over there. That's on my bucket list to go on one of those NASA-propelled spaceships up in space, those little mini tours you can take.
Well, I can't wait to hear about it when you get back.
For hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah. I could do it.
Yeah.
And here's the pitching coach coming out. Looks like it changes in order here. Old Dominion going to the pen. Lincoln Ransom, who was really good up until that walk, will step aside. And a new arm here for the Monarchs when we return. What a beautiful night here in Greenville. Chris Watson, our cam op, he's locked in. He's all about the weather tonight. A lot of shots of the moon, the stars. Gives you some cool perspective of what's happening here in Greenville. We got a 4-4 game heading into the bottom of the fifth. Neither team has scored since the second inning, and Old Dominion continues to toss out relievers. This is Connor Schumann, who now comes in. ODU's bullpen, top 50 in the country in overall ERA, and it's been that kind of season. A lot of different arms. Only an inning and a third this year for Schumann, the Midlothian, Virginia product, and he has not pitched since March 10th against Northeastern.
Yeah, we kind of thought we'd see guys that hadn't had a ton of opportunities tonight, and that is exactly what we're getting.
So we'll see here how Old Dominion can counter this left-handed heavy lineup for East Carolina.
Schumann, kind of that pitchability, left-hander, not afraid to throw the breaking ball at any count. 81-85 fastball. I'm going to bet you pretty good pickoff move to first base.
Works out of the slide step and flips in a strike.
First pitch breaking ball. That's kind of what you expect out of these guys. And this is a matchup situation facing the left-handed hitting McChrystal.
McChrystal off the end of the bat, shoots one foul. This ECU fan base has been waiting to explode. They had the 3-run first, not much since.
Yeah, this is one of those games that, as a fan, can kind of lull you to sleep a little bit, and just a little bit of solid contact there, and everybody kind of thought maybe, but it hooks foul pretty quickly.
Now the 0-2 That is a really good take from McChrystal. You see first base coach Jeff Palumbo over there talking to the runner, Jacob Jenkins-Cowart. And a base hit.
Foul ball.
Just kidding. My apologies.
Yep. It looked like it for a long time. Just does get fouled down there.
I let the rooster out of the barn a little too early.
It's okay. Yeah, just.
And Boucher was all over. He's like, no, that's foul.
Yeah, just hooking. Just hooking.
Now the hitter calls time. So the at-bat continues here on 1 and 2. Opposite field, base hit, McChrystal. Jenkins-Cowart's got a ton of speed, and he's heading to the plate. The Pirates capitalize with a 2-out double.
You know, that's another way to beat that shift. That ball's driven hard into the gap there, and they were kind of swung around in the outfield, which allowed them to get to the fence, allowing Jenkins-Cowart to score for first base. But you see a lot of room there. Center fielder was swung to the right side of second base. Left fielder kind of playing straight up, but that, again, another way to beat the shift. We've seen it on the infield and now the outfield tonight. Plating a run there for the Pirates.
Third 2-out hit. All three have brought in runs for East Carolina. And now a pitching change here for Old Dominion.
Yeah, they bring the left-hander in really with one responsibility, and that is to get out McChrystal, and doesn't work out for him. And they will make another call to the pen, bringing a righty to the bump for the Monarchs.
Mike Marin making the change, and we'll step aside for just a second. Old Dominion deep into its pen here in the fifth as the Pirates have regained the lead. Welcome back to Greenville. A lot of new arms tonight. Marco Lavari comes in. We've already seen Kenny part of that Lavari combination, and now Marco gets his fourth inning of the year. It is interesting the amount of different arms that Mike Marin has used tonight, how they try to situationally get outs in this spot.
Yeah, another freshman arm, and again, this is an opportunity for these guys not only to try to win this game and win these innings, but win time down the road. And that wild pitch is.
And Marco spikes the slider for the true freshman with his brother Kenny out there at third base.
Yeah, that one wasn't even close, and Kenny's got some words for him. Settle in, biggin. But that was about as far away as it could be. That, I don't know, is that a good pitch in cricket? I don't even know. Tough one there.
It has led to some wild pitches. one of two sets of brothers on this ODU club. Gomez brothers are both on the squad. And younger Lavari here struggling.
I'll tell you what, and that pitch was eerily similar to the one before it. Nice job by the catcher to block it up, keep it in front of him. Holman back there. Again, we talked about what a nice job he's done all night.
The 2-0. That's roll foul from Colby Wallace.
You know, kind of a curious 2-0 swing there from Colby Wallace. That pitch is down and away from him. Look, kind of like a borderline pitch. I mean, you know, you wouldn't think it was something that would light your eyes up in a 2-0 count.
The true freshman earned one start against Elon last night. 0 for 4, did score a run. Back in the lineup today. And he takes strike 2.
This Pirate offense prides themselves on what they do with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Work on it a lot.
Had 3 2-out hits tonight. That might be 4, and a good snag by Edwards to end the inning. Old Dominion gets out of the jam with the Lavari brothers. One at third, one on the mound to keep this a 1-run game. This game summary brought to you by Grady White Boats. These teams were seeing stars early. 4 runs each in the first 2 innings, and the big difference, the most recent double from Ryan McChrystal to put the Pirates in front. All of a sudden, much like the opening matchup in late February, good pitchers duel, low scoring, and could come down to some execution here down the stretch.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. I mean, this has been 2 games, right? This has been, I mean, it's the first couple innings, it just seemed like nobody was going to be able to get the other team out. And now both staffs have settled in, and Johnny Holstaff has taken over on both sides.
Johnny in the form of young Ethan Norby, true freshman. His brother Connor was an All-American here at ECU and rapidly rising up the Orioles organization. Flips in a good breaking ball there to Rowan Mass, the pitch hitter.
I'm telling you, that low strike has been a popular call for the plate umpire tonight, and that's going to draw a comment from the third base, from the coach down the third base box.
As Rowan Massey takes strike 3, probably more upset about the previous pitch than that one.
Yeah.
Keeping hitters off balance, that can be part of the equation. As there's a strike. Because now if you're on the mound, you want the ball right away and you want to pound the zone.
Yeah, well, if you're in the powder purples you do, ODU seems to kind of have the opposite philosophy, but Norby is a guy that likes to get it and throw it, and you're seeing it here. I enjoy watching pitchers pitch with great rhythm.
Evan Holman in a hole, and he grounds out to second Good hands there by Williams, making the start at second for the 4th straight game.
Yeah, 2 quick outs for Norby.
How important is working in that bat here if you're Nick Miller?
You know, I mean, it's certainly, I would say critical, but it's certainly important to kind of catch your breath over here. We got a ball that got on the field, but it's certainly important. But when you got Norby up there who's goes so fast, there's not but so much you could do in the college game anymore. Step it out and stuff. I mean, you used to have the ability to break that a little more as you see Miller making that effort here, but
because Norby's ready to go.
As soon as he gets in, man, Norby's going to kick and will.
Delivers another strike. He's ready to rock and roll here, searching for a 1-2-3 inning. And has
he gets it.
Now to complete the strikeout, and that's it. A scoreless 6th for Ethan Norby. Very efficient as his Pirates are up 1. That's how you do it. Get the ball and go to work. A scoreless 6th. Here's what's cooking the American Athletic 3 weeks into conference. What a resounding start for UTSA. They have the series win over East Carolina. And Wichita State, who was 5-1 heading into last week, they've taken a tough turn, dropping all 3. Now this conference, as we told you, 6 teams within 2 games. Those standings are far from settled with a month to go.
Oh, Bud, yeah, this is it's just getting fun. You know, this is the equivalent of Major League Baseball would be it gets super engaging after the All-Star break, and that's kind of about the stage of the season we're at.
East Carolina will host Charlotte this weekend, who's just a game below 500. And now Bechara back to work with Bryce Jones in left field this inning. Justin Wilcoxon a bit late to start his at-bat. Bechara, the homegrown kid right out of Norfolk from Maury High School. He was a starter last year, now largely out of the pen. And he's working well.
Yeah, you look, that last pitch is clocked at 82, but certainly looks like it has a little more giddy up there. As you see the numbers there, 2.25 ERA with 12 strikeouts to only 3 walks.
That's a nice 4-pitch mix for this ODU pitching staff. That numbers-wise has been really good. Mid-4s ERA, top 30 in the country. Not to mention, as a staff, top 25 in strikeout to walk. They've been efficient tonight. And gets another strikeout, able to elevate there on Wilcoxon.
I think what you're looking at here philosophy-wise is the staff at ODU felt like, hey, if we're within striking distance or have the lead late, then we kind of go to to our better guys on the back end. If you look at Bashar's numbers, I mean, again, we had him up on the screen a minute ago, but I mean, fairly gaudy numbers coming in with a 2.2 ERA in 16 innings.
More importantly, 9 different pitchers have thrown double-figure innings. Not just the starters. There's depth in the pen as well.
Yep. You see first pitch breaking ball, and it's a pretty good one.
Joey Barini, who grounded out and struck out earlier tonight. Ouch.
But Bashir, a good move by him. He's like, no, I'll take that ball back. It's got a little scuff on it. No problem.
I'll put some spin on that with my slider changeup curveball combination.
That's right. Let me I'll stick the index finger or the middle finger on that one and see if I can make it do something a little different.
Cliff Godwin's club, who just scored a run last inning on the McChrystal double to break the deadlock.
Good job, Barberini, laying off that high fastball. Thing just looks so good.
Multi-year starter at shortstop, Joey Barini here in a 1-2. And to me, there's a lot of threats that make this East Carolina offense dangerous, but their ability to work counts and avoid strikeouts has been huge this year.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, this is the point in the lineup. If they can get, they get these 3 going and then flip the lineup back to the top, they can be very, very dangerous. And we've seen Dixon Williams is in the hole. We've seen him have a good night already tonight.
Then you add in a rowdy fan base here. 14-1 in Clark LeClaire Stadium. Tough club to beat here in Greenville. As that one's rocketed to first. Boucher's got it for the out.
Yeah, nice play down there by Boucher to corral that one. But you're right, Barini hit that ball pretty good. Got down there in a hurry, and you'll see Boucher just kind of takes one step over, and ball had a little side spin on it, gathers it up, and tags first for the first out. I'm sorry, second out.
I'm curious if that ball hit the cut of the grass. Does it change direction at all?
It certainly had some spin on it, if not, but you're right. It darted
just behind it.
Darted back to the line.
As Bristol Carter fights one off. Bristol Carter is a true freshman, hitting .320 with 2 outs this year. That's hard to fathom. So he tries the bunt. Will test the defense and win it with the infield bunt single.
You know, in his last at bat, we saw the shortstop make a great play on him coming in and able to throw him out. And Bristol Carter catches the third baseman napping a little bit and really couldn't have rolled this ball out any better. You see, kind of challenges the third baseman. He comes up, tries to barehand it, knowing Carter's a good runner, and never finds the handle.
I'm not even sure with Carter's speed if LeVare makes that play. So here's the top of the Pirate lineup coming up after Dixon Williams.
Dixon with a couple hits tonight. Average up to 260.
Hits in 9 of his last 12 games. Has really come on at the end of March here in early April. A freshman who last year only started 2 games. He was a complimentary pitch runner, pitch hitter, but getting some big reps this year.
Yeah, had a big summer. You know, and Dixon is one of those kids that committed to East Carolina really early and, you know, blossomed through his time here at, local product of D.H. Conley High School. But he's a kid that, you know, all his life, all he's done is hit. You know, he's just a guy that has the bat ball kind of skill. And, you're seeing it more and more this year as he's gotten increased opportunities.
We'll reset the pitch clock before this one for Vincent Buchera. And Williams is jammed. There's the right fielder Waters to camp under it and end the 6th. Good pitching the last few innings. Just one run the difference. An ECU run in the 5th to extend its lead. Welcome back to Greenville. It's a good weekend of baseball in the American Athletic. UTSA and Memphis will battle out, both teams above 500. And Wichita State, who we told you has dropped 3 straight. They need a big series against FAU coming up because the Shockers can swing the bats. Really good offensively. FAU pretty good on the mound. And then South Florida, maybe the hottest team in the league. They've won their last 2 series. As that one's rocketed to Dixon Williams for the first out.
You know, I can tell you with that UTSA club, too, they're a team that beats it around pretty good, and if they can get it to their closer out of the bullpen, they've got a chance to win a lot of baseball games. And obviously the Pirate fans are locked into what they're doing, and that's going to be, again, another one of these kind of interesting
and this weekend, it's the 2 preseason favorites, Charlotte and East Carolina, battling it out.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting kind of subplot as this thing shakes out down the line.
Robert Woodard's club, they made a regional final last year in Clemson, upsetting the Tigers on the way to the region. Don't return a ton of talent from that team, but have showed flashes. Multiple ranked wins this year and a strike in there.
No, as a matter of fact, didn't return very, very few guys, and bringing in about 32 guys, if I remember correctly. And you know, the draft was a big deal for the 49ers last year.
It's not reloading, it's rebuilding here for East Carolina on this side of things. Here's a true freshman, Ethan Norby, really good out of the pen tonight. And one of the rare pitchers to work with a ton of tempo. So now it's Luke Waters. He was huge in the Old Dominion win up in Norfolk, had 3 hits, drove in the tying run, and then watched his teammate Stephen Meyer hit the game winner in the 9th. Now that's a pitcher who's ready to go.
I mean, there's, don't even give me a sign, just here we go.
The way he's pitching it, I think he knows what's coming. Locate, locate, locate.
Yeah, well, I thought there'd be a little bit more conversation about that last pitch.
And I don't mean to laugh, but I do think it's fitting how it kind of evens out there.
Well, it's truly a guessing game right now as to what's going to. I mean, we got balls being called strikes and strikes being called balls.
Maybe the same narrative there on a full count.
Yeah, I keep looking down. Clearly, Coach Cliff Godwin has turned the corner and is a kinder, gentler Cliff Godwin, because in years past, I think we would have already seen him come out and have a conversation.
At least the zone is, how do I phrase this rightly? Consistently inconsistent?
That is exactly how I would describe it. Consistently inconsistent.
So the 3-2 is ripped into right field.
You know, and that's one of those situations that frustrates you as the player, as the coach, that your guy made 2 real quality pitches, and now Now the ECU dugout's kind of letting the home plate umpire know about it, but he made two really quality pitches there, either one arguably strike three. The umpire didn't see it that way, then you give up a two-out single.
There's Cliff Godwin sending his words over to Greg Walls behind the plate. By the way, that orange stick is a positioning tool defensively. It tells the outfielders to go in or out, left or right. So Alex Boucher, who has shown some pops of power, had a home run against Georgia Southern and Virginia this year and a couple big wins. Now the runner takes off and an easy stolen base.
Yeah, when a guy likes to work quick like Norby does, you know, it's one of those things where, you know that's his intent. That's the way he's effective. Again, he's doing a little bit of job of varying his looks, and there you go. You've got the questionable strike calls, single, now runner in score position.
I'm not sure if there was a throwing lane there for Wilcoxon regardless.
No.
Might have had that base. So now the 1-1 to Boucher. Oh, hold on.
We have a pitch clock violation potentially.
Okay, yeah, an automatic ball on the violation. So, yeah, 2-1 count.
I mean, the irony that Norby would get a pitch clock violation.
He's been throwing the fastest of anybody tonight.
Oh,
now
yeah.
a 3-1 count.
I would say he's probably one of the fastest of anybody in the country.
So now time called from Wilcoxon. Okay, no, actually, my apologies. The intentional walk issued. So Boucher's on. This will set the things up for the team leader in RBIs, Kenny Lavari.
And this is, again, another matchup situation. Sets up the force anywhere and brings the left-hander to the plate. We know that, you know, Norby's pitch is that big breaking ball, and Lavari has a tendency to kind of start open and stay open. So that's all about, hey, let's take our chances with him. The Pirate staff for Norby specifically made Lavari look, kind of bad in his last at bat as far as spinning that breaking ball and staying away from him.
There's the bullpen. Jackson DiLorenzo warming up. So we'll see. Looks like the lefty's going to stay in there. With Aaron Growler warming up just in case.
DiLorenzo is somebody we haven't seen in a while, and a lot of folks kind of wonder where he's been, so may see him tonight.
Lavari up in a big spot. Who's an excellent hitter, 367 with 2 outs. None better in the Old Dominion lineup.
You know, I hate to keep dwelling on those strike calls or non-calls, but this is where your pitcher's got to settle himself, not let these things affect him. Nothing he can do about it. He's got to settle in and go right back at the hitter.
That time he attacks the zone right. This young pitcher, Ethan Norby, was in an absolute groove and then hit a little bit of turmoil. He thought he had strike 3 twice. Instead, a single, then a stolen base, and now a walk. And he's 1 pitch away from getting out of it.
Yeah, again, that breaking ball is going to be a really tough matchup for Lavari. I'll be very surprised if he sees anything else in this at bat.
Old Dominion threatening here in the 7th. Great hands from Lavari to fight that off.
Yeah, able to spoil that one, but just barely got a bat on it.
One of the more strikeout-prone hitters in this ODU lineup, but he's fighting here against young freshman Ethan Norby. Advantage, the freshman. Puts it right down the middle to end the inning. Dynamic frame from Ethan Norby, putting up a 0 as we stretch. Here's what's cooking in the Sun Belt. It was a 3-bid league last year with Georgia Southern making the tournament as the tournament champ. And right now, Coastal Carolina, who's nationally ranked at 7-5, gives you a sense of how tough the Sun Belt is this year.
Yeah, who would have thought that you see Coastal Carolina sitting in the 4th spot in the Sun Belt? Yeah, great conference. I mean, it really is top to bottom. Again, it's the Dos Equis, man, of college baseball. It's one of the more interesting conferences in the country.
ULL has won 10 straight. That's a really good program. Top 50 in RPI. There's 6 programs in the top 50. And Old Dominion right outside the top 50, battling here against number 9 East Carolina. Riley Johnson and this Pirate offense. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. Whoa. That was like part self-defense, part foul it off.
Yeah, you know, when every time Riley does something, it concerns you with those shoulders. You know, you're always afraid. Be careful. I mean, it's not. He's obviously a tough guy, and he plays through a lot of pain. But every time he does something kind of twitchy, it's kind of hold your breath till you know he's okay.
He missed a week on the offensive side with an injured shoulder. That was earlier against UTSA in conference play.
Yeah, pretty well documented all he's been through to be able to play, and the multiple surgeries and braces and all the therapy he takes. It's pretty impressive, and a testimony to him as far as his desire to be in this lineup every day.
And then he chops one off his front foot, showing a ton of resolve tonight.
Just what he needed, right? Was something else to throb a little.
Also, if I'm Coach Cliff Godwin, I'm not letting the manager beat me to that ball that was fouled off the foot.
Yeah, well, I saw that, but Coach Godwin's earned the right to let somebody else go get that baseball.
He pops that one up foul. Now, Cliff talking to local radio this week, loved the resolve of his program after a tough loss Saturday against FAU. That was a tight game Sunday, and he was extremely impressed with his team's ability to close out that series.
So we've got the umpire continues to indicate with the kind of looks like he's raising the roof. It's a time indicator on the clock, and so the pitcher dropped the ball to reset the clock.
That one is fair. Wow, well placed by Riley Johnson, his first hit, and it turns into a bloop double. Then the ball gets away. Hold on a second. Play the carnival music, and Riley almost had third.
Yeah, that was sloppier than an unmade bed right there. It's just kind of a mess. Let's see if we can chart this. I don't know. Luckily, there's no outs recorded, so we don't have to figure out how you would score that one at home. But
he falls to a knee.
Yeah.
Then the ball gets bobbled.
Yeah.
Then the throw disappears.
A little
bit runner slips. Can you put that on a scorecard?
Gives you a little bit of a feel of what you might see over at the beautiful Elm Street Park with Greenville Little League some nights. But and Riley's disappointed in himself for not going to third. But, hey, look, no outs, you're in scoring position. He's going to score on pretty much anything from there anyway.
And the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon celebration at the end always brings out a little excitement. A chance here for East Carolina to extend its lead. RBI double from Ryan McChrystal, the difference back in the 5th.
Kind of standard inside move there. Nothing very, nothing intended from that other than, hey, we got to reset.
Oh, Bechara way up and tight. Now this is some reaction time.
Yeah, this one definitely buzzes the tower. And, as a pitcher, you talk about coming up and in when somebody shows sack, and that's exactly what he does.
Cunningham goes forward again.
Same idea. Come inside on him.
It's been hard for either team to manufacture a run since those explosive first 2 innings. It was 4-4 early.
And you hear the fans counting down the pitch clock to try to affect the pitcher's
And this year in 2024 with the pitch clock visible for fans to see, it is a fun element. Kind of reminds me of basketball a little bit. Late in the shot clock. That's a good bunt over to third base, and the only play to first.
Yep, good job there.
An East Carolina team that has sacrificed bunt more than any team in the AAC. It's their 27th of the year.
Well-placed bunt, did exactly what you want to do, make the third baseman field it. Now lots of ways to score from third base, and we've seen Cliff Godwin use all of them.
That's a 400 hitter laying down a sac bunt.
Yeah, it don't matter in this club.
Here's a power threat, 27 career homers for JJC.
There's nothing that would surprise me here.
Hefty swing. Riding now a 14-game hit streak with a single back in the first. He does not get cheated in the box.
No, and it's one of those things where recognize the easy RBI that's standing down there, and you got outfield that's in a little bit, but I still think with Riley Johnson's speed, it's going to be tough. Even if they field the baseball where they stand, it's going to be tough to throw them out. Really don't have to do but so much.
The 0-2 fought off.
And different in this at bat than what we've seen all night with the defense from ODU against Jenkins Coward, as they're playing a little more traditional. The only exception will be the shortstop is still shaded middle.
The leadoff double threatening. And that one is roped foul.
Kind of interesting too with the infield alignment. They're not full in on maybe what you would call green, definitely play the plate, but they're kind of midway of midway, if that makes any sense. It's kind of an interesting look. So
it's pinched and shallow.
Yeah, but again, not on the grass, just to.
Because the base hit breaks the shift.
There you go.
And a 2-run lead for the Pirates.
They've given that to Jenkins Coward all night, and he's able to take it there, capitalize, and because the shortstop was playing in where he was, a big hole over there, and that's the swing you want to see there with an opportunity to score a run, especially with 2 strikes in the hit.
That was a cannon sound.
That was a cannon.
Just to be clear.
That seemed to be. That was a different cannon sound that we're used to hearing when the Pirates
sounded like
score.
a real weapon that was being fired out of the cannon. Nonetheless, number 9 East Carolina has now forced another call to the bullpen. Old Dominion will go to its 8th arm here in just a second.
You would certainly think, but I don't see anybody. Is this just a conversation trip? Because I don't see a whole lot going on down there. And it doesn't look like there's anybody that's got their glove and is ready to go. I don't know.
Now our arm starts to slowly get loose.
Yeah, there's certainly not a ton of urgency. Yeah, I think this is just maybe buy a little time and have a conversation. And again, nobody moving with a ton of urgency down there. And this may be also a conversation between the pitching coach and the umpire on his opinion of the strike zone. Those that watched a couple weeks back with the UAB series, we had the mound visit that would never end.
Unlike the 3-minute mound visit.
Yeah, that went nearly 3 minutes. And if you haven't caught it on social media, it's worth the watch with John Boy Media reliving that. But, that'll chase the pitching coach back to the dugout, and we'll see if we can get back to playing a little baseball.
So here's Ryan McChrystal, who drove in the previous run for the Pirates. We talk a lot about 5-tool players. The speed of Jenkins Cowart was so critical, scoring on that double.
Tell you what, McChrystal went at that with ill intentions.
I was watching a documentary this weekend on Willie Mays, about maybe the first 5-tool player in MLB history. Not only his integration element, but his ability to make an impact all over the field for the Giants.
Well, it's funny how the evaluation is changed so much with the, with what constitutes being a 5-tool person, with guys getting so much bigger and faster, and arm strength is unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of the game. The game is, it's definitely evolving, both technology-wise and again, you alluded to it earlier with the Justin Verlander's comments from his rehab assignment. But yet we're seeing a different brand of player.
And yet we're seeing a top 10 team in the country laying sack bunts, double steals, not scoring in the way you would traditionally see in college baseball, but it's paying off tonight.
Yeah, and Coach Godwin talks a lot about how hard it is to win a college baseball game, and when you've got 5 of them in a week, and you're coming off a night where you played a 7-inning game, banged the ball around, a bunch of home runs, and threw a no-hitter, you know that the next night you're going to have to find ways to be creative. I've been in the dugout plenty of times and go, guys, are we burning runs we're going to need tomorrow night?
So more attention over to first.
Yeah, that was kind of a big question just generally. How would the Pirates respond tonight after having, such a good night last night? It was funny in talking with folks, and I wasn't able to watch the game last night, but in talking with folks, they were like, you didn't really miss anything. And I'm like, well, hold on. We had
there was a no-hitter.
and 3 home runs in the inning. I think that's but I think it was just that kind of ho-hum journey for 7 innings.
And it was a run rule dominating win. Really never in doubt. Tonight's been a tight one. And now an even count. 7 different pitchers for Old Dominion.
Yeah, I'm having to scroll up here on my iPad to get to the bottom of their pitching changes.
Yeah, both teams pretty deep in arms tonight, mixing and matching. Man, a big swing and a miss. There's 2 outs.
I'm wondering if they're going to make the move now. They got a right-hander that looks like he's about ready, and they have been about pitching the matchup tonight. See that kind of low fastball that has been called all night, and McChrystal thought the better of it. Figured he better hack, but let's see. Looks like no change, at least as of yet.
There are about 4 different arms grabbing baseballs in the ODU pen.
Yeah, they had a kind of a sidewinder right-hander, and that's going to bring the catcher out. So I would think now would be the time.
Yeah, it looks like
a
right-hander's coming in.
Yep, here we go.
It's kind of like the Masked Singer. There's 4 different guys with gloves in front of their face getting ready to come in, but I think we figured out who's entering the game.
There he comes, making his way.
Here's the new arm for Old Dominion. Brandon Pond will come in, and we'll take the timeout here in Greenville in a 2-run game. University of Lynchburg grad transfer Brandon Pond, a D3 national champion from a year ago, comes in out of the Old Dominion bullpen. He spent 5 years at Lynchburg. This is a veteran now in year 6. And up and down numbers this year. Has been good in the midweeks, has struggled in his most recent conference outing. 7 runs against ULL. And now he looks for a quality inning here to keep this a 2-run game.
Yeah, national champ. He knows how to win. And look, I think we need to take a moment to thank Pierce and the guys from ODU for being so supportive tonight as all these pitching changes take place. They've been super on top of it. And
Sports Information Director Pierce Yarberry, really helpful.
Really
for us.
do appreciate their help.
Both staffs doing a nice job with game notes and keeping us informed. There's a lot to talk about, not just Eclipse. We got baseball to talk about, too.
Yeah. So the discussion before the game was 13 pitchers was what the line was set. Would we go over, under 13 combined? We're going to do a quick count, but I think
we're at 11 now.
I think so we're at 11.
We're pushing it.
We're flirting with it for sure. We knew that it was going to be this kind of night, and a lot of midweek college games are Johnny Holstaff nights.
That ball gets away from the catcher Holman, so JJC takes second. Was there an actual pitcher named Johnny Holstaff? Is that the iteration of the word?
No. It's just a combination of Hole and Staff, and we got to call him something, so we'll go with Johnny. Had you been there, it might be Evan Holstaff.
It's true.
Doesn't have quite the same
Whoever
ring
was at
to
the
it
first
as Johnny
game when they
Holstaff.
used it, yeah. Holman again has to fight for his life, and that ball gets away. So some self-inflicted wounds here from Pond.
Our crack research staff seems to be diving into, was there ever actually a Johnny Holstaff? I'm going to go with no, but who knows? If there was, he played with like the Cleveland Crackers in the 1920, whatever.
And he was with the greatest showman in New York, traveling the country in the circus back in the day, as that pitch misses inside. Colby Wallace has been waiting to swing the bat tonight, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. And he'll take the walk. And given the score, given the circumstance, this could be a waterfall type of inning if Old Dominion's not careful.
Yeah, what they've got working for them is 2 outs. And if it weren't for that, you would certainly be concerned that this thing could absolutely blow up on them. And not saying that it can't. We've seen teams score a bunch of runs with 2 outs, and good teams do. But that is the positive for the Monarchs right now. Although Pond has not been very sharp since he entered the game.
That ball is into right field. Wilcoxon with a 2-out knock. Right place, right time to clear some ducks on the pond.
Yep. Miller's now on first and third. Little timely 2-out hit there. Plates another run for the Pirates. Colby Wallace advances to third easily. You see this one again, not what you typically expect out of Wilcoxon. Kind of gets that one off the cheap part of the bat, just out of the leaping effort of the second baseman. Runners on first and third, 2 outs.
2-out hits have been the story for the Pirates. Their 4th of the night. And a little bit of breathing room here for number 9 East Carolina.
I know we keep talking about it, but I am truly amazed at the pace that this Monarch staff works at. I mean, it is very deliberate. It is as deliberate as it can be in modern college baseball.
Trying to use every second of that pitch clock, no doubt. Throw off timing. There's another strike. And once the pitcher catches the ball, you get 20 seconds to deliver that next pitch. And Brandon Pond's using almost every second of it.
Interesting way to occupy your time there.
Sometimes you got to entertain yourself.
When guys in the dugout, guys in the bullpen have always been really good at that. If it's throwing seeds in a Gatorade cup or, whatever, you find a way to keep yourself, engaged, or at least passing the time.
That is called a strike and will end the inning. So Brandon Pond with the punch out. East Carolina scores 2 of its own, and we have a 3-run game through 7.
We call it drive. The unrelenting desire to become the person you were born to be. Ignited by a moment. The realization that a future you could only dream of is within reach. At East Carolina University, you won't just imagine a path. You'll forge one through hard work and the success that comes without surrender. The journey that leads to your future. And this is where it begins.
Nice outing for Ethan Norby out of the East Carolina bullpen right when his team needed a couple of zeros. And in a game where it's been hard to get outs tonight, what's impressed you about the freshman?
Well, you know, you've seen him really good. I mean, obviously, we talk about the pace with which he pitches. Gracious, that was hard to say. You saw him get a little flustered there. More importantly, you saw him settle himself down and get out of the inning. So, I mean, I think that's the big takeaway. He's been really quality. And, again, the punch out that wasn't kind of flapped him up a little bit, but he's settled back in, and we'll see how he does in this inning. I expect him to return to form that we saw prior to the end of the last inning.
There's a first pitch ground ball. Good scoop there and a quick out. So Norby now 2 2/3 out of the pen. And if you're Cliff Godwin, you might ride this out the rest of the game. He's gone 4 innings in 2 of his last 3 outings.
I would bet the other way, but I hear what you're saying. I certainly a couple guys getting loose down in that Pirate pen still, and I have all ideas we have not seen our last pitch changes.
So Jack Spates, the pitch hitter, will take a strike for Old Dominion. Spates is one of 20 newcomers to this ODU roster. A club that will continue a rough stretch of Sunbelt play. They'll host James Madison this weekend. Norby wasting no time. Here's the 1-2.
I tell you, man, he can bury that breaking ball in the back foot of a right-handed hitter about as good as any freshman.
And he goes back to the heat. Good combo for the punch out. That's 6 Ks for Norby.
You know, it's that three-quarter slide. It's so similar coming out of there as far as tunneling pitches. You see here, I mean, he just boom, right, fastball right, almost in the same spot that breaking ball ended pitch before.
East Carolina, who will host Charlotte this weekend and wrap up a 5-game homestand. 9 of the next 10 here in Greenville, including a good matchup with Wichita State next week.
Holman, the catcher, asking where that was and just confirming his opinion. I mean, it's breaking ball, fastball, breaking ball, kind of same. Again, same location, tunneling one off the other. I'd love to see, you know, how in the big leagues they line them up to where you can see where the pitch starts and where it finishes. A lot of consistencies there.
Norby with a new career-high 7 punch-outs, and he's fired up.
Quality pitch right there. I mean, that's, again, quality sequence.
Great outing from the true freshman. His Pirates are 3 outs from a win, thanks to 4 scoreless out of the pen. This Saturday is a great day in Greenville. It's the 39th annual Pigskin Pig Out. Great events all day long from 10 to 2 with the Purple and Gold Spring Game. But let's not forget it's Petey's birthday party. So the first 100 kids to show up will get a free cupcake. Maybe you and I pop over for the baseball game at 4?
I'll tell you what, you can't beat that. Yeah, then, Pigskin Pig Out, watch a little spring football, then come over to the ball game. Sounds like a great Saturday.
Makes for an epic weekend here in Greenville.
Then you throw the Masters on top of that.
Oh, you have me sold. Par 3 contest today. As that one's hit hard to third for the first out of the inning. It's not as exciting as March Madness opening weekend, but it's pretty darn close in terms of sports weekends.
Well, I don't know. The Masters is a special
time-honored
event.
tradition,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Unlike any other.
Yeah, now we're talking. Bubba Watson's daughter made a couple of par 3 putts. She birdied a few holes today. I think she's like 5, and she made her birdie putts. Here's Dixon Williams, who spent a lot of summers and springs going to those pigskin pig outs. He's going to hustle up the line. A nice play from Boucher over there at first base.
Yeah, probably one of those situations, Dixon going head first into first, where you're going, hey, we already have Starling on the shelf, and, we're up 3 here. We appreciate your effort, but it's kind of a little bit of a dangerous play, especially when you have a guy running to try to beat you to the bag. Appreciate the effort, though, for sure.
This is actually a lot closer than people may have thought.
Yeah.
And hopefully it didn't get clipped there.
Yeah, that would have been my bigger concern would have been, again, a spike on the hand there. Some instructions here to Riley Johnson probably to slow things down just a tick. And
that was, 4 pitches?
Yeah, nobody down there in the pen. And, I got to go with your sentiment prior. I got to send the young Norby back out there to see if he can close this thing and get the win.
As Brandon Pond searches for a 1-2-3 inning. It was 4-4 after the second. ECU with 1 in the 5th, 2 more big runs in the 7th. That time a good pitch from the reigning D3 national champ, Brandon Pond.
Anytime you get to win a national championship at any level of college sports, man, what a big deal. And great memory. I'm sure he'll never forget. Just got dive bombed by a moth up here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of moths flying in here. We got to be careful. So there's a strike. That tournament's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa every year, the D3 national tournament. Now the 3-2, and he got him. Good pitch for Brandon Pond. Last chance for Old Dominion, looking to strike back for 3 when we return to Greenville. Welcome back to Greenville, where Old Dominion continues a tough stretch. 5 straight meetings against ranked opponents. Finally take a breather with a red-hot JMU club, and then host number 11 Virginia coming up in a week. There's no easy slate in this schedule. Marshall, who's in the bottom of the Sun Belt. But then in the month of May, it's Texas State, right on the edge of the top 25, and App State back-to-back weeks. As there's a swing and a miss, and Ethan Norby has another career high, 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, before you could even introduce the pinch hitter, Jake Tyser, who is a JUCO transfer, had a big year last year, had 21 home runs at the junior college level and only 47 games played, guy with a lot of pop, but Norby makes quick work of him. Any of you that have been to Clark LeClaire Stadium understand that in the 9th inning they play the video montage there. They couldn't even finish it before Ethan Norby finished his warm-up tosses, so they had to cut it short to get back to the action.
He is moving at a different speed tonight, absolutely.
He does not play around.
This one has a chance in the corner. It is deep and gone. Hold on a second. Kyle Edwards, he makes it a 2-run game.
Yeah, stays on that breaking ball and drives that thing the other way. I mean, it happened so fast, kind of looking around, that I just kind of caught the fly ball in the air after the pitch, but he hits that one right down the line. Stays on the hanging breaking ball and hits it up into the trees over in right field.
4th homer of the year for Edwards, and taking advantage of a blistering windy night. That has football practice field written all over it. So now it's Stephen Meyer, who had the game-winning homer when these teams last met, February 27th.
Obviously, at this point in the game, they're all big outs, but this one even bigger with the tying run being on deck. We'll see if Norby can calm himself down and get the 2 arms back up very quickly in the Pirate bullpen.
Old Dominion, no wins this year when trailing after 6 innings, 0-13. And needing some work here on strike 2. Couple arms getting ready for the Pirates just in case. May not be needed as Norby, 9 strikeouts.
What a night he's had out of the pen.
Here's our Grady White Boats game summary. The big 3 runs late. The double from McChrystal and Jacob Jenkins-Coward scoring a couple of times to put the Pirates in front. Now on a 2-run game, Old Dominion has fought back with a home run from Kyle Edwards. And now the last chance contributes a base hit. That's Luke Waters into the corner, and the tying run comes to the plate.
You know, Luke has quietly had a good night, 2 hits before that at bat, so 3 hits on the night. And again, the guy that the Monarchs needed to go. So this will bring the tying run to the plate. Be interested to see here if they'll pitch the matchup or let Norby go at him.
Opportunity for Alex Boucher. And hold on a second here. Pitching coach comes out.
The Pirates do have the home half of the 9th should they need it. And there is a left-handed hitter on deck, number 7, Lavari, that Norby's kind of had his way with tonight. So probably nothing too good here to Boucher. Maybe give him a chance to swing at pitches off the plate, see if he can get himself out. Otherwise, they'll take their chances with Lavari in the matchup, I would think.
And what a dynamic night for Ethan Norby. New season and career highs in strikeouts and innings pitched for the talented freshman.
Boucher does have 3 home runs on the season and 2 hits tonight.
Has been on in every at-bat, Alex Boucher. A Pirate pitching staff who threw a combined no-hitter yesterday, using 4 1/3 quality innings from Ethan Norby. Old Dominion has the RBI leader, Kenny Lavari, due up next.
Again, I think this is just going to be kind of a nibble and bite. After that first pitch, though, it was really quality opening fastball up and in, and that was the sequence that we've seen him start there, then go back to the breaking ball.
Now the 2-1 to Boucher. Will force the 3-1 count. Alex, who's doubled, hit by a pitch, singled, and walked. He's been a big threat for Old Dominion.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and put him on and
the automatic walk.
Take their chances.
Interesting strategy from the standpoint you do put the go-ahead run at the plate.
But you get the last 3 outs. You know, and obviously they're deep in their pen, and so and quite frankly, this matchup between Lavari and Norby has definitely favored Norby all night, and again, it's that breaking ball. That breaking ball compared to the open stance of Lavari.
Senior Kenny Lavari takes a strike in his 200th career start at Old Dominion. An RBI single got the party started back in the first.
Pirate fans wanted that one, that was quite a bit off the plate, but good pitch.
The talented freshman Ethan Norby, 4 innings of relief tonight. And he's 1 strike away from ending it.
I'll tell you what, the last thing Lavari thought he was going to see would be a fastball in. Really quality pitch by the freshman. Now he's got the whole plate to work with.
9 strikeouts and counting for Ethan Norby. Make it 10! And 5 innings of brilliance from the true freshman secures the midweek win.
And there's that breaking ball, set it up perfectly with the fastball in. That breaking ball just a little too much for Lavari. Again, matchup favored the Pirates, and great job by Norby.
Number 9, East Carolina splits the midweek series with Old Dominion on this strikeout from Norby. And he was electric. It was a tough night for relievers, but Cliff Godwin leaning on his freshman in this one.
I think the most impressive thing there is, again, a true freshman that they have been trying to get indoctrinated into being a guy out for this staff, out of the bullpen or at a starting role. He comes in, throws, about 70 pitches. So basically a start on the back end of a game and gives them everything they need. A great job, by Norby and the entirety of the pitching staff for the most part.
Number 9, East Carolina moves to 25-7 with the win. They'll gear up for a big series with Charlotte. Old Dominion, though, tough foe tonight. Had the lead early. East Carolina bats did the rest. And what an outing for true freshman Ethan Norby. For Mike Mollison, our talented crew here in Greenville, I'm Evan Budrovich. We say good night as the Pirates take the second of a midweek over Old Dominion, a 7-5 final. This is a presentation of ESPN.